just because I think the flap is far away and might flap too much.
Getting set for the Big East Women's Media Day, brought to you by Invesco QQQ, the official EFT of the Big East Conference. Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Caffrey, your host for today. We are going to get the second half of this afternoon started, and I'm going to send it over to John Paquetta at the podium. Big East women's basketball fans, the 2023-24 season is upon us. And before we look forward, let's take a trip back on a season for the record books. UConn continuing their winning ways, taking home their third straight Big East tournament title last year. And with that came the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. The Huskies weren't alone, however, as they were one of 5 Big East women's basketball teams who heard their names called on Selection Sunday. The most teams selected to the NCAA tournament since conference realignment, as Villanova, Creighton, Marquette, and St. John's all went dancing. A storybook season for the Red Storm, which began with their best start in program history, wrapping up with St. John's first NCAA tournament bid in 7 years. The Huskies and Wildcats dancing all the way to the Sweet 16 before their seasons came to a close. For Nova, it was just their second Sweet 16 appearance, the last one coming in 2003. The Wildcats saw the most prolific scorer in Big East history head to the WNBA as Maddie Siegrist was chosen 3rd overall by the Dallas Wings. UConn's Lou Lopez-Seneschal and Dorka Juhas also hearing their names called on draft night. Last season felt like we were just getting started. We can't wait to see what's in store for this year. The return of the 2021 Naismith Player of the Year as fans wait in anticipation to see Paige Beckers back on the court again. A record 5 opportunities to catch Big East women's basketball on Fox and over 30 national broadcasts throughout the year. We know the frontrunners, but who will surprise us this year? Butler, Seton Hall, DePaul? We're getting close to tip-off Big East women's basketball fans. It is time to shine.
Thanks very much, Pam. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our 2023 Big East Women's Basketball Media Day segment. This year, we are embarking on the 42nd season of Big East Women's Basketball, and we're very excited to be here in person at the world's most famous arena to usher in another great year of competition for all of our programs. As I noted this morning, today is tinged with sadness following the news that Georgetown head coach Tasha passed away on Sunday night following a heroic 2-year battle with breast cancer. Tasha's time on the hilltop and in the Big East was tragically cut short, but she had already started to make her mark in the league with her trademark determination and toughness, and she touched many lives. I want to tell you a little bit about Tasha. She was hired at Georgetown after 4 years at Georgia Tech, where she ascended to associate head coach. Prior to her time with the Yellow Jackets, she was an assistant coach for 8 years at LSU and for 3 seasons at UCLA, mentoring many All-SEC and All-Pac-10 honorees along the way. She did a stint on the coaching staff at Duquesne also. Tasha graduated from the University of Tennessee in 2004, where she finished 4th all-time in games played and 7th in three-pointers made. The Minnesota Lynx selected her 20th in the 2004 WNBA draft. That was my last draft in the WNBA. where she helped the team to a then franchise record 18 wins and a spot in the playoffs her rookie season. That year, Tasha returned to her alma mater to serve as graduate assistant to head coach Pat Summitt. The Lady Vols won the SEC championship that year and advanced to the Final Four. Tasha played overseas in Portugal before returning to the WNBA for stints with the Charlotte Sting and the Houston Comets. A native of Milledgeville, Georgia, Tasha was a consensus All-American and Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year at Baldwin High School, where she remains the school's all-time leading scorer. In August of 2004, the city of Milledgeville honored Tasha with a key to the city and a proclamation of achievement on Tasha Butts Day. Tasha's diagnosis inspired the Tasha Tough campaign, which supports quality breast cancer care for women who can't afford it through contributions to the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. We should all be as tough as Tasha was. We extend our deepest condolences to her family and loved ones and to the Georgetown community. I want to extend a special thanks to Joel Fisher, EVP of Marquee Events at Madison Square Garden, and his team, outstanding team, I would add, for the hospitality today, and to Jeep, which has served for the past 9 years as the presenting sponsor of all 22 of our conference championships, now including our women's tournament at Mohegan Sun. And I want to offer a warm hello to the women's basketball journalists who are here today. We know many of you, we know you cover the Big East regularly, and we want to welcome others who are following today's program on the Big East Digital Network. Hello, Megan, great to see you. I want to acknowledge Jackie Campbell in her second year now as our Senior Associate Commissioner for Women's Basketball and Strategic Initiatives, and our own Pam Flenke, our Associate Commissioner for Women's Basketball Communications and Operations. I can attest to their hard work and their passion and their dedication in support of Big East women's basketball in our 11 schools. I also want to thank Deb Williamson, who continues to capably serve as our supervisor of officials. We're very excited to welcome to the Big East our newest women's basketball head coaches. Joining us today are Erin Bath, head women's basketball coach at Providence, who was a standout at Clemson and has had coaching stops at Michigan and NC State, and Billy Chambers, now head women's coach at Xavier following a successful 10-year stint at Iona. We also want to welcome Hoya's interim head coach Darnell Haney to the Garden today. I want to recognize our athletics directors, our senior women administrators, who are as talented a group of women as I've ever met, and all of our coaches for everything they do to support women's sports and provide first-class competition opportunities for all of our athletes. I want to especially thank Lynn Ty, Senior Associate AD at Villanova, who on top of her campus duties represents the Big East on the NCAA Women's Basketball Committee. We want to acknowledge the longevity of 3 of our coaches, Naismith and Knoxville Hall of Famer Gino Auriemma, who enters his 39th year on the sidelines, Knoxville Hall of Famer Doug Bruno, who's close behind at 38 years, and Jim Flannery, who's starting his 22nd campaign in Omaha. Thank you to each one of you for what you've done to build the women's game over the past 4 decades. Special props go to Coach Bruno for being part of history on October 15th, when the Blue Demons traveled to Iowa to play in the Crossover at Kinnick, a charity event that was played outdoors in the Hawkeyes football stadium and drew a crowd of 55,646 fans, which was the largest crowd ever to see a basketball game, men's or women's. As the DePaul, Iowa game proved, it's truly an exciting moment in time for women's basketball and women's sports at large. When I was a student athlete at Virginia 40 plus years ago, of course I started there when I was 5, it was simply impossible to visualize how far the women's game would progress at every level, and how much the players and the coaches at the collegiate and pro levels would be respected and appreciated in the years to come. But that's what's happened, thanks to many of the people at this event today. To be sure, women's basketball over the past 40 years has been punctuated by highs, more than a few of those involving Coach Auriemma and UConn. And I can tell you we had magic moments in the WNBA in the early years and subsequently, but things feel different now. There's still much room to grow, and it's my hope that the Big East can do our part to provide the showcase that our players, our coaches, and our programs deserve, and to help write exciting new chapters in the women's basketball and women's sports stories. Some key accomplishments from last season bear noting. UConn kept up its winning ways by ending its third season back in the Big East with a bang, with its 22nd regular season crown and the 21st tournament title, defeating Villanova in the championship game at Mohegan Sun Arena before moving on to the NCAA postseason and a Sweet 16 finish. 4 other teams earned NCAA berths: Creighton, Marquette, St. John's, and Villanova, the most teams we've had in the Big Dance since 2014. St. John's had a first-round win, and Villanova advanced to the Sweet 16. Following a remarkable turnaround and an overall 23-9 mark last year, St. John's coach Joe Tardel was rewarded with Big East Coach of the Year honors. Well done, Joe. Seton Hall also played in the WNIT, and we hope to build collectively on those strong efforts this year and beyond. We were excited to see 3 Big East players selected in the 2023 WNBA draft this past April. You saw them on the screen. Villanova's Maddie Siegrist at number 3, and UConn's Lou Lopez-Senecal at number 5, and Dorka Juhas at 16. Maddie finished her career as the all-time leading scorer in Big East men's or women's basketball history and landed many postseason honors. The summer saw 4 Big East teams, Creighton, St. John's, Seton Hall, and Villanova, represented at the 2023 USA Basketball 3x3 Nationals, with Creighton taking home the championship crown. Creighton's Morgan Malley and Villanova's Christina Dymond and Lucy Olson were also chosen to compete in the 2023 FIBA 3x3, 3-on-3, I call it 3-on-3, under 21 Nations League in China, and congrats to all of these young women. Our third conference tournament at Mohegan Sun Arena last year was a great success, with the highest attendance recorded at that event since 2014. This year will mark the 41st edition of the Big East Women's Tournament, and we know Mohegan Sun will continue to provide an outstanding environment and exactly the kind of setting that we want for our participants and our coaches and our fans. Our current agreement will keep the tournament at Mohegan Sun through 2026, and we want to thank Jen Rosati and her team in Uncasville for all their efforts on our behalf. Looking to the coming year, we have moved to an 18-game conference schedule this year, down from 20, in an effort to create additional flexibility for our schools to schedule quality non-conference matchups, which we believe will help us at NCAA tournament selection time. This will translate into everybody playing 9 schools home and away, and then 2 schools once each, 1 at home and 1 away. We're entering the 11th year of our long-term national television agreement with Fox Sports, who this year will televise 26 regular season women's games on their family of linear networks, which is a 10-year high. We're very excited that the Fox Broadcast Network will air 5 games this year, the most to date, including 3 league games and 2 high-profile non-league games between UConn and Louisville on December 16th and UConn and Notre Dame on January 27th. CBS Sports Network will air 6 games, and SNY will cover an additional 17 games. Steve Robb from SNY, I believe, is with us today, and I want to thank him and his team and the network for their long time and outstanding support of the Huskies, the Big East, and women's basketball. FS1 and FS2 will also cover the 2024 Big East Tournament, giving us more than 49 linear exposures for the season. Flow Sports, currently the home of the Big East Digital Network, is set to stream more than 700 conference events this year, including 120 women's basketball games not otherwise selected to air on linear TV. We want to extend our special thanks to Tim Eichhorst and Rush Media for their outstanding production support and all their efforts on our behalf over the past 9 years. Additional content on the Flow platform will include Fast Break, which is our weekly women's basketball feature show led by our co-hosts John Fanta and Megan Caffrey. We are also introducing a podcast series this year called In the Bonus, which will include insights and analysis about women's basketball and other women's sports and feature Megan, Kim Adams, Isis Young, and Lisa Roman. We'll be doing a reprise of last year's National Girls and Women in Sports Day on February 7th, which will feature Georgetown at Marquette on FS1 and celebrate the wide range of work women in basketball are doing in game operations, officiating, broadcast production, as on-air talent, and in other areas. We remain deeply committed to doing our part to promote gender equity and social and racial justice and have various activities planned throughout the season in furtherance of this goal. I want to thank Claude Johnson, who's here today, for allowing us to honor the Black Fives Foundation and the amazing work that you're doing. So Claude, we look forward to working with you again this year. As I noted this morning, we will also be continuing with our Be the Change advocacy program, which brings together stakeholders within the conference in our quest to promote tolerance and build more welcoming environments on our campuses. Student athletes across all Big East sports, including our men's and women's basketball teams, will again wear Be the Change uniform patches during the 23-24 season. In mid-September, we conducted the 8th edition of Transition Game, which is our widely acclaimed annual personal and professional development program for upper-class women's basketball student athletes. This year, the program allowed us to reach 36 young women over 2 days with modules about what life might be or will be like when their playing days in the Big East are over. Our featured speakers included Kia Clark, CEO of the New York Liberty, and Terry Jackson, Women's National Basketball Players Association Executive Director and a proud Georgetown undergrad and Georgetown Law alum, as well as other Big East women's basketball alums who are now succeeding in a host of fields. Many of the speakers, including me, credited Title IX with making their journeys possible. All the more reason to keep this law and the commitment to gender equity unwavering as we look to the future. Finally, I want to acknowledge the outstanding young women who represent the conference and our schools on the hardwood. These years in the Big East are a time for you to shine, and we're here to support you in your quest to meet your goals on and off the court. We wish you the very best of luck this season. We know you're going to go after it. So I'll stop there and turn things back over to you, Pam. We hope to see everybody during the season. Thanks again for joining us today. Picture.
If we could have all 11 coaches up for a photo with Val.
Welcome back to the desk, Megan Caffrey, and I'm so excited to join in my co-hosts for today, Kim Adams and Isis Young. Hey, ladies!
Sorry, we're here. We're here.
We had to finish up some of like the Instagram and the Twitter.
We're just letting the people know that we are live. I got to get the post up.
We'll get it there in just a second. But real quick, we heard Commissioner Val Ackerman allude to this in her speech that she just had, but Big East women's basketball is coming off of the best season yet. 5 teams to the NCAA tournament last year. A lot of familiar faces this season, some new faces as well. I'm interested, Kim, I'll start with you. What's maybe just something you're simply excited for this season?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the 2 teams that were at the top of the preseason poll. UConn, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about Miss Paige Becker's back healthy this season. And then Creighton, the team second in that preseason poll. They're a team that 2 years ago made it to the Elite Eight, maybe a little bit disappointed with a first-round exit last season, but they're bringing a whole lot back, 84% of their scoring, 4 of their 5 starters. So we're looking at that preseason poll right now. Those 2, I think, are kind of a little bit above the rest of those teams, and I'm excited, Isis, to see who does take that 3, that 4 spot right now. Megan Duffy's Golden Eagles, 3rd in the preseason poll.
Ice, what are you looking forward to?
I'm going to go with the transfers. I'm always excited to see what players coaches can find across the country to fit into their mold, to fit into their program, that are going to make a staple in this league. This league is so cool because it's at the middle, right? It's not Power 5, but it is Power 5. And so players that are transferring in here are looking to make a difference. They're looking to have bigger roles, and I'm really excited to see what the transfers can bring to the Big East.
I can't wait to talk to some of our coaches about the transfers they have coming in this season. First, we need to go toss it to our fourth member of the team, Lisa Carlin. Lisa, what's going on there, girl?
Come on over, Joe. What do you need? What do you need fixed?
I have a big one over because it's popping out.
Can I get you to scoot over?
And throughout the media day.
Just slide it over this, just
With
far as possible.
Hi, Coach. To come. We've also got an eye camera, so the student athletes can stand in front of that. The camera will whip around them. They can use that video, photo for their social media. The teams will also be representing it. And Megan, throughout the day, I will have a special guest with me. I'm not revealing any secrets yet, but when I do, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. This means the start of women's basketball, and we are so excited for it to begin.
Yes, Lisa, who this special guest is that you're having. I have no idea who it's about to be, so I'm excited to see who that is. And now we get to welcome our first coach to the desk, head coach of the St. John's women's basketball team, Joe Tardel. Coach, first guest to the desk.
I feel honored. I mean, this is great.
Expectations are high.
Hey, start the day, right? I mean, let's go.
Coming off of a historic season for your team last year, Coach, just right off the bat, what are you looking forward to most to build off of last year's success?
I think just the leadership that we had last year with we had 6 players graduate, 2 we lost in the portal, so we lost 8 of 12 players, but the 6 players that we had that had the experience that they brought to our younger players and the returners for this year. I'm excited to see how we can build off that, because I do believe that leadership doesn't graduate if you don't allow it to, and I think they really learned a lot, the 4 returners. So, and we'll need them to be great for us to continue the success that we had last year.
And Coach, on paper you have 1 starter coming back. I'm going to call it 2 because we all know Unique Drake could have started for you last season. Last season's Big East 6th Woman of the Year. In addition to her and Jillian Archer, who else returning are you looking to see elevate their game for you this season?
Well, I still think both of our sophomores that are back, and Jayla Donald and Sky Owen, they didn't see as many minutes last year, but they got to be in battles in practice every day. And they're going to have to step up for us because they've been here. They know what we're trying to do systematically. They know what the expectations are. And then also the couple of the transfers that we got. So, but the returners really, I think Jayla Donald and Sky both will have to be big pieces for us.
Coach, let's talk about those transfers that you brought in. Who are the transfers you're looking to make an immediate impact this season?
Yeah, when you look at Amber Brown, who came from Pittsburgh, she started every game there, 110 games, I believe it was, in the ACC. She's 20 rebounds away from 700. She will be a big piece to what we do. We're a little banged up right now, so we hope that we have her at the beginning of the year. But she's is part of the toughness that we loved that we looked for in recruiting that we had last year. So she will be a big piece to that. Brey Mayo, who's a starter as a point guard for UMass on their championship team, also played in the NCAA tournament, so she's bringing a lot of experience from the A-10 and the ability to lead the floor. She'll be a big piece for us. Phoenix Gideon, Tara Johnson. Tara knows the league. She came from DePaul, very athletic, great defender. Really is physical and combative, which we like defensively for what we want to do. And then Phoenix gives us some depth in the front court. Comes from Robert Morris, kind of it could be a double-double, plays really hard, and another person that we think can really help us right away.
I'm interested, Coach. I remember last year talking with you, and you said you hit a home run with the transfers that you had. Yet again this season, some key transfers that you just mentioned. What did you learn last year with those transfers and how to really integrate them into the program?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that we had a very special group. It's hard to have the answer, right? It's not an exact science. You base things off of obviously the conversations that you have, the film you can watch, and those that know these players, hopefully before they get to you. And so I thought we did a great job of being able not only to bring in 3 great players last year, but they also were with an experienced group that had been with us. This is different. Okay, we have 8 new players, and 2 of the returners are sophomores. So it was a little bit more difficult. But what we did learn is that we wanted to recruit personalities. We wanted to recruit players not just for what they showed on film, but who they were. And so I think we've done that. We're going to continue to do that. And there is something to be said when you've got an experienced team versus a younger team. And so I'm dealing with that patience right now as we continue to build with a younger team.
Patience is a good thing. Talk about personalities. We're going to miss seeing Jayla Everett out there. I think is she playing a little bit right now professionally?
She was over in Sweden, yep. Okay. She was over in Sweden. So she was the last cut of the Connecticut Sun. I really was hoping she would make it as an undrafted, free agent. And yeah, I'll miss her too.
With that said, without her, without Khadijah, who was just a staple of your program for so many years, stylistically, will anything look different for your group on the floor this year? Will you kind of build off what you guys built upon last season?
Yeah, I haven't changed much in my 12 years. I mean, we've tried to continue to do the same things that we've been doing. I think some years we've been better at it than others. We do have to make some adjustments based upon personal things maybe that we'll do technically different. But the way that we play, how hard I want us to play, and how tough we need to be and combative we need to be, that doesn't change from year to year. And so I said this all the time, our players are our culture, and we've got to get the right ones in there to continue to build on what we did last year.
Culture, such a big piece that we know in terms of success and keys to winning. You've got a total new roster, a couple of returners that are young. Who is the leadership on this team right now that is leading that culture on and off the court when you're not around?
Yeah, well, I look at 2 players. I mean, Jillian Archer and Unique Draker, who are both here, both who have grown tremendously since I've had them. And Jillian I haven't had as long as Unique. Unique's a totally different person than she was even 5 years ago. But that's a 5-year player in my program, similar to what Khadijah was for us last year. And Jillian's someone who's been at 2 other places and is in, I think she's in her 6th year. I get lost with COVID years. Yeah. But no, she's, both of them extremely mature. Both have been through battles. They've been tested in high leverage moments. And so we lean on them for a lot of that. And then also Amber. I mean, AB is coming from Pitt. She's got a great voice about her, great personality. She's got toughness, like I said earlier, and competitiveness, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, we want to be the most competitive we can be, no matter whether it's a game or if it's in practice on every rep, every drill. And so those 3 have come toward the forefront of being the voices, and we'll need them to be that way. And they can't do it alone. I told them they all need each other. It's always going to be a group effort, but they've got to be the tip of the sword in everything that we're doing.
We're going to hear from Unique in just a moment. She's with Lisa. Give us a little fun fact about Unique.
Well, can I watch it? Because I want to see her get up here and talk. So, I think she heard me over there.
Yeah, she did. Without further ado, Coach, watch away. Lisa.
So I will give you the sorry. I didn't know if I was supposed to give a fact.
Let's get the fact.
Time for it.
All right, so she's got a crazy hat collection.
Oh.
Yeah, she's big on hats.
Okay. I
gotta give her credit.
Brothers in the hat
like
industry.
snapbacks or like skull hats?
She's got it all.
Everything.
I gotta give her credit.
Bucket
She's got
hat.
some really nice hats.
Okay.
I was a little jealous a couple times. Some I don't even want to put on my head. Obviously, I need a hat because I have no hair anymore. But she's got a lot of good hats.
Hey, we could feature this on our new podcast in the bonus.
Ooh. We definitely can.
Wheels are turning.
It's good.
And Christmas presents. So now she's gonna get Coach a hat. Lisa, let's hear from you and Unique.
Thanks, Megan. I'm with senior guard Unique Drake. Unique, welcome to Big East Media Day. I know you couldn't hear this, but Coach Tartamello just said that you have an incredible hat collection. I am fascinated by this. How many hats do you have, and which one's your favorite?
I probably have about 60 hats. I can't even say which one's my favorite because I have so many hats. So I have a lot of favorites, but probably either black with yellow or black and red.
And you like fashion and dressing up. If you can't tell everyone, she is dressed to the nines. She looks incredible today. When you roll up on game day, what is your go-to outfit? Do you want to feel comfy or stylish? What are you pulling out of your closet?
Usually I just like to be comfy, so I usually wear sweats, Nike Tech, something like that, just chill to get ready for the game.
Okay, you are the reigning Big East 6th Woman of the Year. Congratulations. Now in your 5th year at St. John's, what have you added to your bucket list to accomplish?
Just becoming a leader for the team. We had a lot of leaders last year, so just stepping into that leadership role. Also being a more defensive player this year and scoring the ball more than what I did last year.
Being a leader is incredibly important, especially with a new roster of players. What kind of leader do you want to be?
I'm a vocal leader, somebody that my team can depend on, know that I'm always going to have their back regardless, and just knowing I'm going to give them my all every single night. So that's the leader I'm trying to be this year for my team.
And you are a consistent player for Joe Tardel, and you have been over the last 5 seasons. When you look back to your freshman year up until the start of this preseason, what is the biggest place your game has evolved?
I would say consistency for sure, and just being confident in myself and Joy T. When I first got here, I wasn't that very confident in myself, but as the years go on, I grew as a player and as an individual, so I would just say being confident in myself.
Continue being confident, and good luck and congratulations for this season.
Thank you.
Lisa, we are now joined with the new Providence women's basketball head coach, Erin Bath. Erin, welcome into your first Big East Media Day.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I'm so excited.
Well, we are so excited to have you on set. I'm excited for the ladies to get to know you a little bit more. I've had the pleasure to talk to you a couple of times now. Your energy is just absolutely contagious. First, second time at Madison Square Garden. How are you soaking it in?
Girl, ladies, oh my goodness. After this, I'm going shopping.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm soaking it all in. I am beyond blessed. I'm so excited. It's a surreal moment for me. Something I've been wanting to do forever, for a long, long time. So I really appreciate it. This is amazing.
And Coach, we're so happy to have you in the league. As Megan alluded to, I've seen you in interviews with her. I've seen some clips. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to meet Coach Bath. Where does this positive energy, exuberance, where does that come from?
Gosh, I want to say my mama now, but let me tell you something. It definitely runs in the blood in my family. But the women I coach, we have a good time. Now, we get after it, right? But I feed right off of them. As much as I'm giving them everything I got, they give it right back. I need it. My knees are hurting sometimes. Like, come on, Coach Bath. So I'm telling you, it comes from them. I'm really excited about them. They're great women. So we're going to do something big.
Are you getting up and down the floor then if the knees are...
No, ma'am. Oh, go on now. Yeah, I'm okay, girl. Mm-mm.
It looks like you could still get 20.
This voice can carry. I don't need to run anymore.
Coach,
Yes.
when you found out that you were accepting this job and you knew you were going to take over a program for the first time in your career, what was your immediate thought?
Oh my gosh, is it really happening? Come on, Lord. What you doing now, okay? So it's really like, okay, this is it. And it was such a moment of calmness, but y'all ain't gonna lie, I cried, I screamed and hollered, and I said thank you to God, everyone. I called some of my old coaches and said thank you, because they're the reason I'm here too. So called some of my teammates. So it was a beautiful moment for me. And I was ugly crying, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, the makeup was gone.
Those are some of the best cries, though.
You have to have a couple of those every year.
Every year, 1 or 2, you know.
That's right.
Erin, what is an Erin Bath Providence team going to look like this season on the floor?
Oh yeah, well, we're going to get after on defense, okay? I think everything we do is going to have a lot of energy. The thing I've been telling the women right now is I don't want anybody to forget who we are. It does not matter the score. We're going to fight, and we're going to give some energy, and we're going to be positive. Are we going to get on the floor? Those loose balls are going to have to be ours. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch us, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of sisterhood. Okay, woman down, woman up. It's going to take every person on this team to get us to where we're going to be.
And Coach, it's not always the case when a new coach comes in that most of the players return, especially in this day and age of the portal where it's so easy to just go somewhere else. Why is it important for this season coming up that so many, I believe 4 starters and a ton of the core players that have been part of the program decided to come back with you?
It is everything. Yo, I was so scared. I was crying again. I was 2 ugly cries in the same year. Good gracious. I said, ladies. So the thing is this now, with that portal, I said, okay, they're in the portal when I got the job. I said, you know what, you do need to go on these visits, because if you're going to play here, and this place is not for everyone, I'm going to make sure that happens, okay? But I'm telling you what, I need you to go visit, because I can't you have any doubt that you want to be a Friar. that one moment, ladies, because what we're about to do is going to be something great. And so I tell you what, them giving me a chance to actually coach them while they went on their official visits was huge. Now, the college itself is amazing. So don't get me wrong, it's not just me. We're around great people. So it's been great. It's everything, to answer your question, everything to get those women back, and I'm very thankful.
You talk about getting the players back. I'm curious now how to learn how you built your staff. It's one of the critical things that we look to for first-time head coaches especially, to make sure that you have that support. So how did you build your staff, of which I'm a fan of, because I know a couple of them personally?
I'm so glad you asked me about the women I got on my staff. They are amazing. I'm not going to have them long. They are head coaches in themselves. Very intentional. I wanted someone who can lead those point guards, and that's Val Nima. I wanted somebody who can get our big girls in line, and that is Kylie McLaren. And let me tell you about Raina Frost. She ain't no joke, okay? She's still a baller. She's got all my tweeners, so I'm telling you, that was everything. You must be around good people no matter what you do. And we have a lot of fun. And we have a lot of good times. So very intentional. Thank you for asking me about them.
Yeah.
Very special.
If you have a slogan or a saying for this season, what is it?
Oh, the time is now. We are not wasting any. We got to come on. I cannot wait. We are not waiting. So something's about to happen. You hear me? So I tell you what, the time is right now.
Slide that to me on a T-shirt, please.
Yes, I got you.
I'm ready to print them.
Got you, ladies.
Just a little care package.
We'll let you know our addresses.
Coach, I'd asked you about the core coming back, but you do have some nice additions. We might need a little help on the pronunciation here. You're a freshman from Lithuania. I'm just going to let you say your name.
Yes, it is Ugne Sertotete.
Ooh.
I've been practicing Miss Sertotete.
Try and say that 3 times fast.
I know, bless her. I love that woman. But she was a huge part, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, very intrigued by her background, a lot of international experience, FIBA experience, size. What can we expect from her in your rotation?
Yeah, so she's a stretch 4, and she can play some 5 as well. She can shoot the 3. She runs the 4 really well. What I really liked watching her play, what I saw when I was watching her play, what I really liked about her was that she can handle a little bit. Okay, she can set good screens, she can pick and pop. She's very versatile, and she's got size. She's taller than me, so let's go. I wish I could have shot 3s in college. You kidding me? My coach would lose his mind, Jim Davis. So anyway, yes, dear. So she's very special. I'm very excited about her.
Coach, your background involves teams that have won, that know how to win. At NC State, your last year at Michigan, how can you take your experiences and put this into your first job where you are the woman?
Oh, let me tell you what. I got to tell you, Westmore and Kim Barnes-Arico, 2 powerful people in this game. I couldn't be more blessed to have been under them, okay? Taking a little bit of everything, okay? Westmore, he's a hard-working man. He's got great X's and O's. He's taught me so much. Oh, my goodness. Kim Barnes-Arico, I got to tell her, that woman is strong and powerful. We've got grit. She gives me grit to make sure our women are playing gritty. So bits and pieces of everything. But I tell you what, I have got to tell you. Coach Jim Davis, my college coach at Clemson University, that's my guy, okay? My whole foundation is him and how he taught me. So I got to give him credit for sure.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to watch you in the Friars this season.
You want to be our life coach?
Yeah, please.
Come on, women.
I have one more year of college eligibility in case you need me to lace up a little bit.
I'm putting myself in the portal right now. Like,
can I go? Lisa, who you got over there?
Hey, Meg, I am here with senior guard Grace Ifosa. Grace, it is the first year with a new head coach and Coach Bath. What's been her biggest message so far this year?
Energy, discipline. She carries herself very well, and it kind of rubs off on the team. And I guess the biggest message is the time is now. You know, we're slept on in the Big East, slept on in basketball, so yeah, the time is now.
Time is now. I absolutely love that. That can mean different things for different people, but for you as a player, what does that mean to you?
It means right now, like, no time is wasted. Obviously, I've been out with injuries, and, you know, years hasn't gone our way, so right now we're taking full advantage of everything.
You have been out with injuries. You've struggled for that, but you look strong. You look ready to go. This year, what kind of impression are you looking to make on this team?
I'm just looking for that consistency. I feel like we're going to have it, and us showing and walking out with confidence, I feel like that's the impression we're going to give out.
You are the returning #2 scorer of this Friars side. In the offseason, what part of your game did you look to build on that consistency?
I look to build on the 3. because everyone knows, mid-range and attacking the basket, but I'll also continue working on the mid-range and attacking the basket because those are my main things I do in basketball. So I'm going to make sure no one can stop me with that too.
So with the mid-range and working on that three, when you were in the gym this summer, take me through a training. What did a typical training look like for you?
Okay, so we'll start with ball handling, 2 balls, finish with some contact, finishing. And then after, we'll start doing like spot shooting, coming off down screens, 1 dribble pulls, getting into moves. And then after, we'll start doing 2 in a row from the 3, start backing up more. And, getting some like live defense in and offense, and yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot. These trainings are long. Which one's your favorite activity?
My favorite is actually at the end. We do like a half-court shot against the coaches, and either me or whoever was in my workout, and like whoever makes it gets to like make a fun punishment, so like kind of like ends the like workout off well. So that's kind of my favorite.
I know you were making a lot of them, so what is your punishment? What were you giving out?
I'll make them do like I'm a star, nothing too much, but like it's just like the casual of like the I'm a star emphasis.
Have you heard of donkey kicks? Because they're just as embarrassing and as fun. I'll show you off camera, nothing on camera here. Very good as well. This Friars team has a new freshman coming in from Lithuania. What's her nickname again?
Oogie.
Oogie. Why are you excited to play with her?
Oogie just brings something different. Like, as I told you, she's a freshman, but she doesn't act or look like it. And obviously, she played in the Euro League, so the experience over there and the way she's bringing in the knowledge that she's giving us is just amazing. And I told you, we want to come out with that confidence, and she already has that. She already carries herself with that. So, like, her bringing that into the team is just amazing, and that's what we're looking for.
I am excited to watch her and you this season with Providence, as I know all of the Big East fans are. We're going to send it to a break, but we'll be back with so much more Big East Women's Basketball Media Day when we return.
They're finishing up an interview now, so they'll be here.
Welcome back to Big East Media Day, where Darnell Haney, head coach for Georgetown's women's basketball, now joins us at the desk. And Coach, we are so sorry for your loss. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, the team, the program. I know you addressed it with the team yesterday. How's everyone doing?
They're doing okay, right? I know this is a tough time for everyone. This is a tough time for the women's basketball community. A tough time for our young women. They got a short amount of time to spend with Coach Tasha, right? But I think they are a little more assured and rest assured that she went and she hasn't had any more pain, right? I think you go into this. Sometimes you go into this selfishly as a player, and you want your coach to be with you, right? And you want your coach to be a part of what you got going on. But at the same time, they understood how much Coach Tasha was going through, right? And they feel a little at ease that she was able to be home with her family and cherish the time that they had with her.
Coach, we wish that they had gotten more time with Tasha, but in those couple months, I think starting in April through the summer into the fall, what do you think your team took from Tasha that we will see them carry over into this season?
I think a lot of people go into this, and I talked to our team about this yesterday. A lot of people go into this Tasha tough mantra and this toughness mantra, they're thinking it's like smash mouth. No, it's not about that. Being Tasha tough is actually being empathetic. Right, being Tasha tough is actually being tough on the floor, but powerful off the floor as well. I think we're gonna bring an exciting style, that the girls are going to play with joy. They're going to see people playing with joy. They're going to see these young women playing with the almost just a joy that Coach Tasha would have wanted to see them with, right? And I think them going out there and them appreciating life, you know, and appreciating the ability to be able to do this and do this for a woman that was able to pour into them, even though she was going through what she was going through. So I'm excited about our young women. I'm excited about the opportunity to go and play in the Big East, and I think our girls are excited as well.
Coach, I'm excited for you. I know that this is definitely a tough way to become a head coach, but at the same time, you have been with Tasha for years. You guys had a close-knit relationship. You're now taking over for her team. What are you looking forward to the most as your first time being a head coach in the Big East?
Well, more so of the Big East is making sure, like, when I took this job with Tasha, I wanted to make sure I helped her. Right? My biggest thing was to make sure that I helped her succeed. So, I mean, sometimes God puts you in situations where you do have to help her. And this is helping her and her legacy move forward, right? And I think just showcasing her and showcasing her legacy and those young women going out there and giving it all they have for her and showing the Tasha toughness that she had and showing the Tasha toughness that we're going to have, I think that's enough for me. I was the head coach before. I know the ins and outs and the rigors, not in the Big East, but I know the rigors that, you know, a head coach had to go through. So I was coming here to help her, and it seems like this is the way I have to help.
Coach, you mentioned the style and playing with joy. Dive in a little deeper for that for us. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, you're going to see an uptempo style, right? That we're gonna rebound the basketball, we're gonna run, we're gonna share it, we're gonna be about each other, right? And I think, you know, in this NIL element, sometimes you get a little individualized, but we have to band together, especially in a time like this. So it's gonna be a style that you're gonna enjoy to see, and I'm excited to see them go out there and execute.
And Coach, when you mention toughness, I think of Kelsey Ransom instantly. When you mention a leader, I think of Grace Ann Bennett and Kelsey Ransom. I know those two are here with you today. We've had the pleasure of getting to know them, covering them for years in this conference, are so excited to see them shining out there. What can we expect from those two specifically this season?
Well, you know, everybody in our program has a role, and like we give it to them. Like, this is who you are, this is what you do. Kelsey's the engine, right? She's the engine of what we do. So one of the toughest, hard-nosed players I've ever met, I've ever seen, and just the nicest sweetheart off the floor, right? But she's a tough cookie, and I really appreciate her effort and her drive and her ability to just get us going. She's the engine, right? And then Grace Ann is the anchor, right? She keeps us grounded, right? She leads. We had practice the other day. It was an open practice, and you know, a couple other people were like, you know, she talks so much and she keeps your group in check. And I'm like, yeah, that's who she is, and that's what she does. And correlating that to our team, which have been led by them for so many years, right? I think them seeing that and them understanding by us giving those roles, them understanding, oh yeah, that's who they are. But I'm whoever I am too, and I bring whatever I bring to the table as well. And I think that's important that they just know their roles and what they're doing and how they're going to help us.
Last question for you, Coach. Transfers. That's kind of my tip. I always like asking about the transfers, the newcomers to the league. But because it's a skill, right, to go in the transfer portal, to grab players that fit your program. One of the transfers from this conference, Maya Bembry, had a really good career at Seton Hall. And then Alex Cohen. What can we expect from those two additions?
Yeah. Maya, I call her Miss Cool, man. She's cool, calm, and collected, man. And she does a lot of the intangibles that that may not show up on the stat sheet, right? She may tip it to somebody that gets she might not be able to get the rebound, but she'll tip it to somebody to make the layup on the rebound. Or she may not make the pass that's the assist, but she may make the pass that's the hockey assist, right? So she sees those things and she makes really, really good, smart basketball plays, and she's going to be the calm force. You know, you need that calming factor out there when you're on the floor, and you know, when the engine's revving up and the anchors is anchoring us, the calm is keeping us calm. And then Alex Cohen, she can shoot that basketball, right? She's a great, tremendous addition to our team. She shoots it. She's a leader. She handles it. And she has a little bit of moxie about her. She's a playmaker, right?
Yeah.
So she has a little bit of, you know, her dad was a coach, and her brother played in Maryland and is playing professionally now. So she just has it. You know, sometimes those players have those it factors, man, and she just has it. Don't know what it is, right? But she just has it. So I think having, you know, just this whole group. I mean, this whole group is so many different pieces and so many. I mean, that's what a team is, right? So many different pieces, and it's just putting those pieces together in this puzzle and making us successful and doing it in a way to honor Coach Tasha and doing it in a way to honor this university. And I think we're excited to do it, and I think we're ready to do it.
Coach, we will be remembering and honoring Coach Tasha all season long. Tasha, tough. We're going to send it over to Lisa now with Kelsey Ransom.
I'm with senior forward Kelsey Ransom with the Georgetown Hoyas. We are celebrating and remembering the passing of head coach Tasha Butts for the Georgetown Hoyas. What kind of legacy did Coach Butts leave?
She is leaving her legacy. Every single day we go in the gym with a sense of gratefulness and humility and hard work, and that is who she was, and that is who we will continue to bring every single time we step on the floor, into the classroom, into whatever job we work after, into these interviews. So she is continually leaving her legacy on us.
Tasha, tough. That is a legacy in and of itself, just those phrases. So thank you for sharing that with me. I know that her spirit will continue to be with this team throughout the entirety of the program's history. I want to talk about this year a little bit because you are returning to a team in which you broke some records last year, Kelsey. You were making steals, your quick defense. I want to know, in this offseason, what'd you do to keep your feet quick and stay light on the floor?
We had Tasha, so keeping the feet running was a thing that was near and dear to my heart. But staying in shape, obviously, and just learning to get better at things that I wasn't good at last year, not getting complacent, just trying to just be better as a whole is something that I was really focused on. Learning to be uncomfortable, watching the bad film, watching the things that people exploit me with, and just trying to learn myself from an opponent's perspective.
Doing all those individual things obviously helps the overall team. How do you feel the team is gelling right now?
Look, we are making strides so immensely and so quickly. It's been amazing. I think we are learning each other and learning how to be there for each other on and off the court. So just learning people learning tendencies or something that's going to make basketball way easier for us in 2 weeks, honestly.
2 weeks. It is very soon. When you learn about your teammates, you also learn about yourself. And in those conversations, what are you telling your teammates about things that you like on the court?
You mean, it's a conversation. So there's, back and forth. There's, you learn what type of person you are while talking to somebody else, and you learn how people respond, like how to be a better communicator, which is the standard in which this team is, really been focusing on. So something I'm learning about myself is just like how to be better for everyone else. Bettering myself is bettering the team, and I think everyone's buying into that and knowing that if we show as the best versions of ourselves that day, competing with each other, trying to beat each other on the floor, then we know we'll be the toughest team in the gym any night.
I love it. You spent your summer in D.C. on the campus of Georgetown. I know you played a lot of basketball, but what did you do for fun? Any hobbies this summer you got into?
I think Georgetown women's basketball could be Georgetown rec volleyball. We do love beach volleyball, and that's something I think gave us a little bit of time away from the court, but still in a competitive nature. And we are pretty good. I mean, we are pretty better than you think we are. So it was fun, and that's something I think we'll do when the weather gets nice again. But that's just a nice time to be outside in touch with nature when you're playing a sport in which you're in a gym.
So you're playing 2v2 volleyball. Who is your teammate that you're picking to play?
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go with Brey Scott because she was a former volleyball player, and her jumping serve and her non-jumping serve is deadly. Aces every single time.
Aces on the volleyball court. Kelsey, thank you so much. We're excited to watch you this year. And thanks, everyone, for joining us at
Coach, before we get to X's and O's, I have to bring up Christina Dymond's entrance, and I think it's called Hoops Mania.
Yes.
If you have not seen this clip, go to the Nova WBB Twitter right now, because Christina Dymond came out full choreography to Michael Jackson Thriller, shades on, the cinematography was perfect. I mean, did you know that was coming, and what does that show about Christina Dymond?
Right, well, it showed a lot of Christina's personality and her skills on the dance floor. Last year, Chris had a great dance as well, so we knew we were in store for something great, and you know what, she didn't disappoint. I think it was even better than last year, so as a junior now, next year with her final go of it, we'll see if she can top what she has done, but it is worth watching. I agree. Phenomenal. To get to it, but she is definitely a talent. I said, you know, she moves like that on the floor, so we need to continue to see that personality come out on the court.
I love it. Well, let's talk about her on the court, but also with Lucy Olson. Both of them had a chance to play together this summer, Team USA under 21, 3-on-3. How do you feel like that experience on the court will help them in your offense this season?
Yes, well, I think it did give Chris and Lucy that chance to connect. You know, not that they didn't play a lot of minutes last year, but we're all aware like of how it went for us. You know, the ball went through Maddie Seacrest, and I think Chris and Lucy playing those games offered them great confidence, the camaraderie. They were away from all the distractions of Villanova and school, and it gave them that opportunity to really talk through some basketball. And I'm happy to hear that they were actually doing it. It wasn't just, you know, we're out here playing some quick games, 3-on-3, there's nothing faster. So those games were over quickly, but they both shared that gave them a chance to like watch and visit like how they could work it out a little bit better in real time. So looking forward to seeing how that experience carries forth. I think your junior year is that year where you feel confident, your understanding of the game, of what we're doing at Villanova, and you know, you're counting on them to do a lot this year, but that experience will certainly carry them through.
Coach, you mentioned before some holes to fill. Obviously, no Maddie Seacrest this season. Where are the biggest holes that you see you have to fill?
Well, obviously, you look at the scoring point of it. I mean, Maddie put up 30 points a game. Now, is everyone on the team excited for an opportunity to get some shots up? For sure. But it has to be just that understanding of what are good shots. What does that look like for us? I think we do have some speed, but once you move up and down the floor, now you're just increasing the possessions of the game. So understanding the percentage, where we're getting those shots, who's taking them consecutively. We just need to be consistent in that area, not just, you know, I think Lucy has shown her ability, but we need it in so many other areas, just finding that consistent second and third score. And then you say defensively, we're going to be outmatched size-wise, and that hasn't, you know, been different for us in the past, but you know, now we're looking, you're going to see like Bella Runyon running the floor for us. You see Maddie Burke. So I think our mobility is good, but you're outmatched size-wise, so you got to be smart on the rebound again as well.
And Coach, we've had the opportunity to call a bunch of your games, to listen in on huddles. You're very calm and pleasant right now, but you are intense in those huddles. I'm like, okay, these girls better make these changes right now. It's not going to be pretty. How would you describe what your practices have looked like this fall as you kind of move into this new post-Maddie phase? She's good enough of a player, we can call it that type of a phase.
I'd say a lot like those huddles that you witnessed are what our practices are. Definitely in the teaching mode, trying to increase that consistency, but I just have that fire. Like it's not going to be for lack of effort from the Wildcats, and that's first and foremost. Like that's what I need them to understand. You got to give it all. You may not get the result, but if you stick with it, if you continue just to work, you compete, then the results will take care of themselves. But you got to be patient within it. So if everyone thinks, especially our team, that they're going to step on the floor day one playing games, like they had just finished in the NCAA tournament could make for a long season. But if they're recognizing, reinventing ourselves, figuring out our identity, we're going to be just fine. We're going to continue to get better as the year goes on.
Coach, besides Lucy and Christina, who have you asked more from in this season? Who have you demanded? Who have you been on in practice? Who have you challenged that you know is going to need to step up for you this year?
Yeah, a combination. I'd say Bella Runyon has probably heard it the most. It just, she's a senior now for us. Bella gives everything. Like, she is that spark for us. Just think she's capable of a lot on that offensive end, and wanting her to be confident in those abilities. So she's probably heard it the most. But again, across the board, Zanai Jones, you're going to see her out on the floor. I think she's capable of doing a lot of things and leading the way, and allows us to take Lucy Olson off the ball. So playing her at that point position from the start. And then, you're always asking the veterans, Maddie Burke, and she has listened, at practices all through the summer. She's got to take more shots. I think that she's capable of getting them off, so she's got to look for that. So, each and every one of them has heard from it, but those returning, those juniors, it's crucial that they step up and, hear the responsibilities needed, and they want them.
You mentioned identity. What is the new identity for your team this season?
I'd say just really being relentless. Continuing to get after it on both ends of the floor and finding different ways for us to be successful. On the defensive end, you got to be scrappy. You got to find ways to increase the possessions and decrease the possessions for the opponent. And then offensively, I think they're doing a really nice job now within practice, sharing the basketball within our motion offense, and then just recognizing who has the hot hand, and then that's the one we're going to call some of the ISO plays for.
And Coach, we've had a lot of basketball talk. You're in Philly. We got Red October. Is that tonight, Game 7?
Yes, it is.
Okay, she's going to catch the first train back for that. But how about an off-the-court highlight for Denise Dillon this summer? What was a favorite moment?
Well, you mentioned the Phillies, and I'll tell you, I've been a diehard from day one. It's probably my favorite sport is baseball, and the Phillies for sure. So, they're a team you like to root for. So seeing them is where they are now. Tough that it's Game 7. We were all hoping it would end last night, but so excited following them. But yeah, in the off-season, summer, it's all about just catching up with family and trying to take some time to get away. But it's now basketball season. We're ready, but rooting those Phillies on tonight real hard.
Coach, my last question for you is, what is your advice for the new coaches that are entering the league this year?
Yeah, well, it's a great league, so just being prepared for a battle each and every night. And I'd also say, and I think they felt it when we were down in Florida with our Big East meetings, that we're all in this together, and it's everybody is willing to talk. There's no secrets in what we're doing. So having the conversations of what's happening on your campus, what's happening within your team, and just learning the game. I've been fortunate to do this for a while, and going back to my playing days, recruiting days, Gino Ariema was always offering advice, and you just got to be willing to listen, hear it, and then it can certainly help your game.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Go Phillies.
Yes.
Go
Phillies.
We might have to have Coach
in honor of Denise. Go Phils.
We might have to have Coach on in the bonus, our new women's basketball podcast that we are so excited for throughout the regular season. We'll be having it weekly. We will be talking with head coaches, players around the leagues, the on-the-court fun, but more importantly, the off-the-court fun as well. We'll be back with more Big East Media Day coverage after this.
Fresh, warm hot dogs. When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics. Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one. Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh, warm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country. It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team. From signing day,
we'll put this right here,
to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team impact. All in, all together.
The Hall of Famer Doug Bruno now joins us at the set, head coach of the DePaul Blue Demons. Coach, I have to know before we get into any big-time basketball talk, you played in front of 55,646 fans. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience for the players, and the money went to the Children's Hospital. So the NCAA allows you to play closed-door scrimmages publicly if the money goes to charity. And I think it's a concept that should pick up across the country in preseason games. Find a local charity and play your closed-door scrimmage public.
Yeah, so much fun.
And Coach, it's no secret, we got a revamped Blue Demons team coming up this season. We've got some transfers coming in. We've got some freshmen. What have you liked about what you've seen from this new look group over the summer and into the fall so far?
Metrically speaking, we exported about 53 points, 25 rebounds, and 10 assists. We imported about 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. So we're still excited about the players we have. And Jory Allen and Naya Peoples are both returning. There's 5 players returning, 2 that were healthy last year. They call themselves the Faithful Five. I like their moniker. So now we have the transfers are very much involved. Michelle Cedor, Kate Clark are from Michigan, Kate Gilbert's from Missouri, and then Bryn Maskowitz is from UCLA. So we have 4 veteran players that probably are all looking to have at least 1 to 2 good, really college basketball seasons. And then we do have Maeve Mackerlane was hurt last year. We had 3 people that were hurt last year. We lost both of our starting guards last year before the season started. Jade Edwards hopefully will return before the season's over. Maeve Mackerlane was a freshman, but only played in 7 games last year. And then, so we're excited about the group we have.
Coach, what is this group going to look like, and what is your style going to look like without Anissa Morrow?
Well, we really believe in scoring the ball. We've always believed in scoring the ball, sharing the ball, and I just really believe at the core of the game of basketball is sharing the basketball. So I think you'll see us, much more diverse. I don't think you're going to have anybody dominating a scoring situation. I'm not sure anybody will average more than 12 to 14 points, but I think there's a lot of players out here that can score. We've always run the ball. I've never believed in playing slow down basketball, so you can be sure we'll be pushing the ball up tempo. Everybody's got to rebound. It's one of the most important aspects of the game of basketball, and everybody's got to do it. Anissa is one of the best rebounders in the country, and it was great to have a great rebounder like her, but everybody's going to have to do their part rebounding-wise.
With this revamped team, where do you see the biggest challenge with your squad?
Well, I think it's right there. I think it is the rebounding factor. We still are a small team. We're top to bottom, good size, but overall we're a small team. Jory Allen, plays inside, and she's a 6-foot post player, so we don't have a lot of size. Bryn Maskowitz could really have a great effect on this team at 6'3". We'll just see where it goes. Charlize O'Hare's a 6'2" freshman, so we'll see where the size factor comes, but everybody always has to rebound.
And Coach Anaya Peoples, your leading returning scorer in her 2nd season with you, coming over from Notre Dame in the past. What has she been like? How has she elevated her game and maybe even her leadership attributes?
Well, I think Anaya got a great year last year. From just the confidence, getting herself back in the swing of playing college basketball, I think it was just really good for her. She just got better as the season went along. So I think she is really ready to have a very, very special year. I know the coaches I saw today, the coaches voted her to the preseason Big East All-Conference team. And we do expect a lot from Anaya. And she's versatile. She can play multiple positions. She was forced to play the 1 last year, and she can really play all 5 spots.
Coach, you've already had a matchup with a top 10 team in the country in Iowa in your preseason. Then you also got Louisville in your non-conference slate. What are you hoping to learn about your team through playing these tough matchups before Big East play?
Well, I've always believed in playing a challenging your team. And the Iowa game was great because Caitlin Clark is arguably one of the best, if not the best player in the country. and I was a top 5 team. So to play, yes, the environment was great. Playing in front of 55,000 was a special experience for our players, but to be tested and, get back in the game late in the game, I just thought our players should get some confidence from that.
Coach, I'm curious about your overall take of the state of Big East women's basketball. You've been around for quite some time, Hall of Famer. Last season, 5 Big East teams went to the NCAA tournament. How have you seen this league grow and continue to get better year after year?
Well, I think you have to start with UConn, bringing UConn back. And I always make the statement as a truth, not as an argument. UConn is the best program in the history of college basketball, men or women. They've done the most. They've achieved the most. And now this year, Coach Oriema is returning players that have been banged up and hurt. So they really have a big-time year ahead of them. So you don't want to be dismissive about everybody else. Everybody else is good. Creighton's returning everybody that went to an Elite 8 as sophomores. You mentioned Marquette and Nova and St. John's were all in the NCAA tournament a year ago. So I think 2 all the way down to the 11th team, we can all beat each other. You hate to start the season saying we're all fighting for second. It just sounds like such a defeatist way to talk. Yeah. But at the same time, with UConn just getting themselves back to the number 1 program in the country, and then everybody else taking care of business, I think we can send more than 5 this year.
And Coach, year 38 for you in Chicago. We're not trying to age you. You still look great. But I always enjoy talking with you before games. Something I recently learned about you in maybe a year or 2 ago, you watch every single practice back. So in year 38, what do you continue to learn about this game of basketball?
I love watching practice over again. It's amazing what you see from the eye in the sky that you didn't see at ground level. And I just think you constantly keep, there's no specific, what did I learn today factor to it. And it really is my 50th year coaching, my 51st year working in college sports. 1 year I didn't coach. So it is my 50th year coaching. Wow. And 38 of them at DePaul. So what it juices you about it is every day is a new day. Every day you learn, and you learn something about each of your players. It's not just what you learn about the game of basketball, but what you learn about your individual players and how to play to their strengths, get them better at their weaknesses, but get them confidence by playing to their strengths. What fits together? Are we going to be better with 2 bigs this year? Do you need 5 guards out there? It's all those questions are just so intriguing every single day. It's a beautiful game, beautiful sport, and it's a quintessential sharing sport. So that's what I love about it.
Shoot it or share it. That's your slogan,
Shoot
right?
it or share it, otherwise you take a certain kind of shot.
We love it. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Go Big East.
Lisa, where are you at now?
Hi, Megan. I'm here with Anaya Peoples. She is in her 2nd year here at DePaul, and we're on the red carpet, but we're not going to get there yet. I want to talk some basketball first, because this DePaul side has 8 newcomers into the team this year, and you've been in that position yourself just a few years ago. What's been your message to these 8 newcomers?
Just keep learning, just observe everything, be patient with yourself, and just enjoy the ride. College comes and goes very quickly. So, just make fun of what you have and enjoy it and appreciate the moment you're in.
When you look back at your incredible career, what's a memory that stands out to you and one that you really got to enjoy?
Oh my goodness. I'll talk about this last, exhibition game, 55,000 people in Kinnick Stadium versus Iowa. That was probably one of the biggest moments as a basketball player, women's basketball player, I have ever experienced in my life. And it was surreal, but it was incredible.
Do not sell yourself short. That was history making. Over 55,000 showed up in Iowa to watch you inside a football stadium playing basketball. When you walked into that stadium and you looked around at those people, what went through your mind?
Oh my gosh. It was emotional, honestly, just for women's basketball, to see all those people gathered around just to watch a game, in the cold, in October. It was tear-jerking almost, just to see how much people cared about the sport and how it's growing over these last few years.
In college football, there is a really cool thing that they do at Iowa, and I heard that your team got to do it. You turned to the Children's Hospital, you got to wave. What were you thinking in that moment?
It's bigger than basketball. It's bigger than a ball going through a hoop, and it's not about us all the time. You know, there's other things going on in life people are fighting for, and, you know, at the end of the day, you get a bad call, but, you know, it's bigger than basketball. There's so much to be thankful for and to keep fighting for and to, you know, look forward to.
That game was a charity game, so all the proceeds did go to charity. But I want to talk a little bit more basketball for you because you are welcoming Caitlin Gilbert onto this team. She was formerly at Notre Dame, a school that you also played with. So speaking collegiately, what do you remember about playing with her back in the day?
Oh my goodness. I just remember us being on the court together and just smiling at each other and just enjoying the moment, you know, passing each other the ball. We love to play defense together, so that was always a great moment. But it's so awesome just having her back on the court with me. It's like the good old days.
Okay, good old days. When did you first meet Caitlin?
I met Caitlin in 2nd grade. We started playing AAU together. My very first AAU team was with Caitlin, and we played all the way up until high school AAU. And then she's obviously a year older than me, and she went to Notre Dame, and I followed her. And then after that, we kind of went our separate ways, but now we're back together.
What are you most excited about to play with her again?
Oh my goodness, she has a son, honestly, and he's just been the glue to this team. So I'm so excited just to see her on the court with me and then looking in the stands and seeing her son there too. So it's going to be such a great year.
After you make a bucket and you point to him, what are you going to do?
I'm going to blow him a kiss. I'm going to give her a high five because that's family.
That is awesome. Well, we get a chance to see your moves and what you're going to do to the fans in the stands right now because we are standing on the red carpet here at Media Day, and we have our iCam bot over here. Dave is going to press play. We're going to make some moves. This is your chance to blow the kiss. We'll see what happens, and we're going to have fun today.
Let's go.
All right, Dave, let's do it. I loved it. The blown kiss and everything. You can watch her all year with Big East basketball. Megan, back to you.
Our we need to see the finished product because I don't really understand what happened there. We need it. Like what's the turnout?
I'm just mad I was excluded. I have some really decent dance moves, and I have good kicks on right now, so I'm just mad I wasn't invited, but I'll pick that up with Lisa later.
Listen, the day is still young, and we now get to welcome Billy Chambers, Xavier new head coach to the desk. Your first Big East Women's Media Day. Welcome.
Thank you.
What has been a highlight for you so far today?
I would say the biggest highlight is watching our players experience this. I mean, it's such a well-run event. I mean, the Big East staff, the MSJ staff have been absolutely incredible. So watching them and their just eyes light up with everything that they get to be a part of is just, it's rewarding for a coach to see that.
Coach, we're so excited to have you in the league. Before we get into hoops talk, just want to hear a little bit about the transition. You're from Maryland, spent a lot of time at Iona in this New York City area. What have your impressions of Cincinnati been so far?
It's been incredible. It has been a nice change of pace. I mean, I'm an East Coast girl through and through. Every job I was at was on the East Coast, and I never would have thought I'm moving to the Midwest. But I've absolutely loved the change of pace. The people there are awesome. There are way too many restaurants, so I've got to get back on a workout routine, but it's been incredible.
Chili?
Skyline, shocked. Everybody said, oh, cinnamon, and I'm like, no cinnamon and chili. It's really good, so if you haven't tried it, you have to try it.
I
Very
have yet
good.
to try it.
So good.
I have not tried it, but I'm with it. The coolest thing I've had recently was a peanut butter and jelly burger from a little small house. Yes,
Like
a small
meats.
place in Philly. But it was like the meat was regular burger, but just peanut butter and jelly. I'm telling you, most fantastic thing
Did
ever.
it melt? Did the peanut butter melt?
It did melt, but it was good. It was like messy
bread?
good. Yes.
Okay.
Coach, let's talk about your team now.
Yeah,
I'm
let's get
curious
back
to
to the
talk
court.
about the style that we're going to see Xavier put on the court, this season. What is that going to look like?
I would love to kind of model a little bit after what we did at Iona. Really defensive-minded team that likes to disrupt the other team and, shift them into option 2, option 3, and just be incredibly disciplined in what we do defensively. So that allows us to play an offensive style where we share the ball. And, there's a lot of individual accountability. It's a lot of passing and cutting. So we should find open opportunities, and you've got to knock down the open shot. So our women have been working incredibly hard to adjust to the style that we want to play. It's much different from what I think many people are used to. But hopefully that's one we're putting on the floor and one we're super proud of this season.
Who are you looking to lead this season?
Well, we have a collective group of leaders right now, but I would say Michaela Scarlett, She's a mainstay. She's scored in this league. She's put the ball in the basket. She's done very well for herself, and I think she fits well into this system. Shelby Calhoun is an incredible defender, and I think this style offensively will allow her to get to a few more of her strengths. And Taylor Purvis, who transferred in for us from Houston, will have the ball in her hands a little bit, run a little bit of point guard for us, but just a quick, athletic kid who can defend, who over opportunities in transition for us. So I think those three will take the lead for what we're looking for, but I'm excited to see what everybody on the roster is going to step up and perform.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to ask you, you had to go to work right away to bring in your first class, 7 players, 3 transfers, 4 freshmen. You mentioned Taylor there. Are there another name or two that, as we're watching the games, as fans are watching the games, that we should be looking out for as players who are really going to make an impact for you in your first season?
Sure. I think, one person who has stepped up as an incoming freshman is Daniela Lopez. I think she's really adjusted well to the style we play. And, it's not surprising. It's what they do in Europe. They learn this at a young age. It's pass and cut, and that's something she's comfortable with. So I'm excited to see her really progress as a freshman. But, I could, at this point, it's so early. You could list anybody. They've all had great days. They've all had, some interesting days where you've got to grow and you've got to stay even and continue to teach. But, it's fun watching them try to figure it all out, trying to learn everything new every single day for every one of them. So I'm just excited to watch them all grow together in this process.
Coach, the list of coaches for the Big East are some powerful names, right?
Yeah.
You took a picture and you're standing next to Gino, Doug that we just had here, Jim Flannery, who has had a ton of success, Denise Dillon. I could name every single one.
Absolutely.
But how are you going to have to step up your game to compete with these coaches who have historically done well in this league?
That's just it. You got to step it up. And I have a staff that's incredible. I have staff that are students of the game who always study coaches in this league. I've said it before. I have a little section in my Synergy where it's stolen plays, and half of them come from the Big East. I'm stealing their actions to run with our program. So I think for me, someone who is incredibly competitive anyway and always wants to learn, I really got to be on point, and I got to continue to do what I do and stay focused on how I do it so that I make sure that I'm the best that I can possibly be for our women when we step on the court.
What are you looking forward to most once we enter league play this season? What excites you about this type of competition?
Just that, going up against incredible coaches and incredible student athletes who, unbelievable. You've got Paige Beckers, you've got Edwards, just name everybody on every roster. There's so much talent in this league. To be able to compete at such a high level is exciting for me and our program. So I'm just thrilled just for the opportunity, thrilled for every moment. Before we get to conference and conference play, I think it's going to be an exciting year.
And Coach, taking over a program with, no secret, they've been towards the bottom of the league. When you look at things off of the court, things in the locker room, team camaraderie, what has been important for you to try to instill early and kind of shape into this vision that you have at this stop?
We talk about building culture every day. So we spend a lot of time doing mental training and working on our mindfulness. We're reading Trevor Moad's book, It Takes What It Takes.
Yes.
Really working on getting to neutral and not getting so high or low with all the ebbs and flows of the game or whatever happens off the court. So we've really valued mindfulness in our program even prior to getting Xavier, and we tried to bring that with us to help these young women prepare for what's going to be a challenging year, right? Any rebuilding year is always going to bring some challenges. So focusing on that, and then just focusing on showing up as our best self in every moment that we possibly can, whether that's the classroom, whether that's a meeting, whether that's an interview, whatever they're doing, show up as your best self so that it can carry across the board. Got to give a shout out to Jess Sims when she said, how you do anything is how you do everything, and we talk about it every day. We want to be our best self in every space.
She's hosted our tournament the last 2 years.
Yeah, you'll get to meet her at Mohegan.
I'm excited.
I don't know if Pam has inked the deal with her yet to come back, but hopefully.
I hope she doesn't check my Peloton app. I haven't been great.
Coach, just last one for me. Leading this team and being a role model for this team, what's the most important thing that they see from you every single day?
Consistency and knowing my truth and being who I am and valuing that. I just want to be the best that I possibly can be for them, and if I'm asking them to step up into the space and not be rocked by the craziness, the ups and downs, I have to show that example every day, and I just try to lead from that space.
Coach Chambers, welcome to the Big East. Officially done with your media.
Thank you.
Let's send it over to Lisa.
Thanks, Meg. I'm here with Xavier senior guard Michaela Scarlett. Michaela, welcome to Big East Media Day. You are a player that made waves last year with Xavier. You led the team in scoring, a feat I'm sure you're hoping to do again this year. Throughout the summer, what did you work on to make sure your shot stays consistent?
So I would go to the gym, take shots daily with my parents. I really wanted to work on my mid-range this summer, something to improve on, I feel like. People know me in the Big East that I can shoot the three, I can get to the rim, so, adding to my game for sure.
You are under a new head coach this year in Coach Chambers. Early days with her. What has she already reestablished within this team?
I would definitely say culture is very big for us. We have this saying that we say after every practice, mind on march, because, we're trying to make it far this year. Win games is definitely something that's big for us. So, yeah.
Under a new system with Coach Chambers, how do you fit into that? Where do you see your role this year?
I definitely see myself still being a scoring opportunity and also getting my teammates involved within the offense, because this offense, it shows all of our potential. So we have drivers on the team, we have shooters on the team, and with this offense, you can see both. Like, you can get drives into kick-out passes into shots. So, yeah.
Coach described you as a leader on this team, and it is incredibly evident. How would you describe your leadership style?
I would say, so I'm not the loudest person, so I try my best to, I'll bring my teammates to the side if they need help with anything, or if somebody's not understanding something but doesn't want to, speak up about it, I'll say, I need, you to explain it more so that they're able to understand what's going on the court.
You are from New York, and we are celebrating Big East Media Day right here at Madison Square Garden in your backyard. The team got in yesterday, and you had some time to show them around your neighborhood. Where did you take your teammates?
So our first stop was definitely Macy's, one of the biggest Macy's there is. I took them to Times Square, obviously, and I also brought them to H&M, and we also went out to dinner at Pink Taco because they recently opened up around here. So
a little bit of shopping, some food. Did you buy any new clothes or outfits?
I didn't, not this time around. Not this time.
That just means another trip back to the Macy's and H&M later. Michaela, thank you so much, and good luck this year.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. We're now joined with Seton Hall head coach Tony Bozzella. Tony, thanks for joining us at the set.
Nice to see you, Megan. Nice to see you, Kim, Isis. Great to see you all. Excited to be here. Hello, everyone out there in Big East Land.
We were just chatting a little bit about your team's going to look new this season. Some new faces. You graduated a lot of talent. What does, simply put, the Seton Hall team look like this year?
Got new uniforms.
There you go.
Not just with the players.
Do you have a preview?
Yeah. No, we're excited. No preview, but a little secret. But we're excited. We're gonna be different, obviously. When you lose such talented players as Sydney Cooks, Maya Bembry, and of course Lauren Park Lane, it's tough. But talented players returning, and Ozana Baines, Amari Wright, Kay Satterfield, Shea Higgins, and Shea Pinckney, and 9 new kids. Some of them have really stood out so far. Some of them are adjusting a little bit. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment period. We'll play a little differently, a little more defensive oriented, but I'm excited. One of the things that we do have is a lot of talent, and I'm excited by that.
Coach, I was taking the train in, scrolling through Twitter. 2 things came to mind. One, the hat. You always rock, fedora. I don't know, fedora style hat. It got a lot of love on Twitter. I love the hat. And second, you had a quote tweet of the all Big East preseason team and said, we forgot a name on that list. I'm going to assume it was the name, I believe, on the honorable mention, Ozana Baines. Yeah. What can we expect from the season that you think she's going to put together?
Yeah, and that's just a compliment to how good the players are in our league. We have a lot of really great players, so it's hard to be a first-team all-conference player in our league. But I will tell you this, I've coached at Seton Hall, this will be in my 11th year, and Ozana, and we've got great players, but Ozana will be in the next line of them. She's worked really hard, represented our country this year, USA 3-on-3. When we went to play as our team, she played so well, she got noticed by the selection committee and got invited out there. So that just said a lot about her. She didn't go on reputation, she went on how well she played. And she played all over the world, representing our great country, and got a lot better. And like she told me, I was put on an island defensively a lot, and I figured I better get a lot better or I'm going to be off that island and be in the water. And she did, she got a lot better. And offensively, her skills have gotten better. She's worked really hard. People don't realize she averaged 17 and 8 the last 12 games of the year. She's a very good player, and she'll be right there at the end of the year.
Coach, I'm going to ask you a loaded question, so I'm letting you know ahead of time. You went to the transfer portal. What were you looking for, and who did you find?
Well, it's great to see you, Isis.
It's always good to see you. Yeah, I don't know what to call you at this point. It's like Tony, Coach B. You've known me since I was like 12, so I'm like Coach always.
And you've really developed into a great career. Congratulations. We wanted to improve our defense. We knew offensively we could never replace all the firepower that we were losing with Lauren and Sydney, certainly. So we wanted kids that could defend. So we went out, and Nasia Davis got the 4th leading rebounder in the country. So that's a defensive thing. You got to rebound the ball, and we were not good at it. And so we will work on getting better, but the best way to get better is get a good player who rebounds. We knew Micah Gray was a young, talented kid out of Texas Southern. She was a SWAC Rookie of the Year. And while she could score, we also saw that she really gave a great effort defensively, so we were happy. And then we went out and got 2 real good forwards. Ayana Lopes was 2nd in the A10 in block shots. That's another defensive component we did not have. And that was great. And McKenna White averaged almost a double-double in 20 minutes of play at UMass. The second part of the double, rebounding, physicality. And those two are going to bring a lot of that. And that was really important to us that we had to do. I just think for us to get over the hump, we've been a very good team. I think we have the 4th most or 5th most wins in the Big East in the past 10 years I've been here. But we've only been to 2 NCAA tournaments, and while the other postseason is nice, we want to find a way to get back. And what was our deficiency? Defense, and we wanted to address that as well.
Sticking with the defensive theme, going back to Azana Baines, you said that she got so much better on defense. What have you seen her already from her experience this summer bring defensively to the team?
Well, I think communication. I think she's done a lot better job talking in practice defensively. And that's given her teammates who realize she's a great player a little more confidence, knowing when your best player is talking and really committed to defense, it's a big thing. And she has been. And I'm proud of her for that. I really am. Because it's not easy to know that you're not good at something and to acknowledge to get better. But that's been Azana's career. Mother's done a great job raising such a wonderful young woman, making sure that young woman is accountable to herself. And Azana is.
Coach, one of last year's elite point guards, Lauren Park Lane, moves on. What does the point guard spot look like for your group this season?
And I was really proud of Lauren that she got her degree and had a great career for us. One of the most exciting players I've ever coached. But we're going to have a really exciting player in Amari Wright. Amari's going to be a great player in Amari's way. Amari's way is not Lauren's way. It's not Shakina Richardson, who's on my staff, who's a great player. It's not Dee Dee Simmons, who's on my staff, who's a great player, and great point guards. Amari defends. She takes a lot of pride in it. Amari understands the scout, understands the game, understands how to play, how to keep her teammates involved. Those are attributes Amari has. And Amari is the fastest player I've ever coached from end to end with the basketball.
Wow.
So she never had a chance to show it for a significant period of time. But I'm relieved that Amari's on our team because she's just a coach's point guard. She knows what she's doing out there. I don't even have to call the plays. She calls them, and with a purpose. And I think she's going to be a perfect person for this year's team. She is, because this year's team is new. They need someone to help coach them on the floor, and that's what she'll do well.
Coach, I love your non-conference slate. I'm a huge fan of the USC, Rutgers, Princeton, Columbia. I love that you're going to be challenged by those teams. What are you looking forward to, or what areas do you want to identify about your team that you want to learn from?
Well, we want to play a really hard schedule. I mean, we have UNLV in there too, which is top 25 in the country. And we need to challenge ourselves. We also have, conference winners in Iona and Fairleigh Dickinson. Both won their conference regular season title last year. So, we knew, how do we get to the next step, we knew we had to schedule challenging teams. Why we didn't get there last year? Lost to Columbia at home in the last minute. Lost to Princeton at home in the last minute. Like, those are games while we still beat Georgia in non-league. We need more quality non-league wins, and we didn't get enough of them. And we had those opportunities. We just lost. This year we want to try and win those games.
Coach Pizzella, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Go Big East. And again, our prayers at Seton Hall go out to Coach Butts and her family and the Georgetown family. We love you all and know you are in our prayers. Thank you,
Coach. Lisa?
Meg, I'm with senior guard Azana Baines. Azana, there are 9 upperclassmen on this roster. What kind of message and presence does that send?
I think it just allows us to be able to, come out and have other teams just wondering, because you don't really know what to expect with having 9 new players on the team. So I think that's an advantage for us. And then, we had so many different pieces on our team now with the new 9 players where I feel like we all just fit together like so well. So I think that in itself is a big win for us too.
With this new look of the team, what can fans expect to see when you guys hit the court?
Competitiveness, lots of heart, lots of grit, toughness. I think this is one of the most competitive teams I've actually ever been on. Every day in practice, we're going at it. Like, even though we're teammates, we're going at it as if, like, we're actually opponents. So I think just that is, like, it's beautiful to see, and it's beautiful to be a part of something like that.
It is your second year in the Big East, and you've played at a number of other schools and throughout a number of different conferences. Now that you understand the Big East, what are you telling those newcomers about the conference?
Everybody is going to be different. Everybody's going to bring something different to the table. Everybody is talented. Everybody has a good group. And I feel like a lot of the teams in the Big East are also rebuilding as well. So I feel like it's just going to be a fair trial for everyone. It's really just whoever comes out on top.
I heard in the offseason you were working on your defense, an area of your game that you not only improved but now have been one of the best on the team at. What did you work on to improve your defensive abilities?
I think just being quicker with my feet and just like being able to read the person that I'm guarding, just being smarter as far as like my tactics on defense. And I attribute a lot of that to playing on 3x3 because, like I've told everyone, playing in that, you're kind of on the island the entire time, like just guarding one-on-one. So that in itself really just helped me improve my defense. Like I said, it made me a lot more quicker on my feet, and it made me a lot more smarter on defense.
Let's talk about this because you spent your summer traveling, playing 3-on-3 basketball, and obviously learning and improving your defensive skills. What was the hardest challenge when you started playing 3v3?
I would say in the beginning, just learning the concepts, because one thing that I did notice playing 3x3 was some of the teams, especially a lot of the foreign teams like overseas, they weren't really like the most like talented as far as like skill wise, but they understood the concepts of 3x3 very, very well, which made it so much easier for them to like win games and be able to execute on the offensive end. So yeah, I think that was just the most challenging thing for me, just getting down the concepts and understanding like how the game is played.
What part of those concepts are you going to bring to your game this year and season?
Definitely my one-on-one game, just because, it's 3 of you out there, so, somebody's going to have to score. So I think that's definitely helped me with, like, my guard skills and stuff like that. So that's definitely going to carry over. And then, like I said, my defense is going to carry over as well.
A lot of travel for you involved when you were playing this. That means you had to try some foods. Yes. I want to know, what are some of the foods you tried this summer? Some you like and some that you didn't even like?
Well, I'm a pescatarian, so I don't really eat too many things. I'm very strict when it comes to the things that I eat. But one thing that did surprise me was in Chile, there was a McDonald's right down the street from the hotel that we went to, and they sold cheese empanadas. I've never seen that in a McDonald's before, so I was like, that was pretty cool. But
were they good?
Yeah, they were amazing, actually.
I love that. Well, cheese empanadas on lock this year for you this season. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Creighton head coach Jim Flannery joins us at the set now. A team that looks very familiar to years past as 4 returners come back to your squad this year. Coach, a lot of talent with experience comes back this season. What can we look forward to with that?
Well, hopefully continuity and maybe some smaller changes. I mean, I don't expect us to be a lot different than what we've been historically, but, I do think when you have as much experience as we have coming back, you can tweak some things and say, okay, what can Morgan do this year that she couldn't do a year ago, or what is she a little bit better at, or what does Emma do that's, maybe we underutilized last year, or with Lauren, or so I do think there's that tendency to try to get that 2%, or just maybe expand somebody's role without over-expanding it, because you don't want somebody to be playing out of character, but you also understand that even seniors grow a little bit, and in terms of their understanding of what you're trying to do and playing with those around them. And so I think it's fun, because I think that the challenge of taking what I think is a really good team and trying to make them elite as a coach, that's fun, and I think our players have bought into that too. It's like, okay, we're good, but what are the things that we can do every day to get better? And sometimes you got to bite them a little in practice, because they've heard the same things from Flan for 3.5 years, and I haven't done it a lot, but sometimes you got to be like, hey, we can't be above trying to get better at this skill that we're not great at. And so I think that's been fun, though, because I'm not having to do that every day or every other day.
I can't see you ever being mean to anybody, but I'm sure you find it a motivating force. Coach, 2 seasons back, Elite 8. Last season, unfortunately, lose in the first round. And to me, I think that just showed how much has to align and go right to make a magical run like you did 2 years ago in March. But with so much from last year's group coming back, how do you think they look at the way the season ended? Is it we've moved forward? Is it a motivating thing, or kind of how are they approaching that?
Yeah, I hope there's a little bit different hunger based on the way that the season ended. I think we didn't want to bow out in the first round last year, and we didn't play really particularly well at all. But I do think that in terms of how that can play out this year, that can be a strong positive, because I feel like our players know that we had a really good year, a really special year in a lot of ways, but to have that taste in their mouth going into the postseason, I think just potentially sharpens your focus just a little bit, and just keeps that motivation a little bit higher, maybe on a consistent basis throughout the off season. And I've seen that. I think that the challenge with any college basketball season is it's a long season. It's hard to play your best for 4 months. And in some ways you don't want to peak too early, but you don't want to never peak either. So, but I think our group is mature enough to handle all that, and I do think that the way the season ended so abruptly can be a good thing for us this year.
Coach, we mentioned the returners that you have, but I'm just going to throw out a number. 84% of scoring is returning for you. Ooh. Doug Bruno joked with us earlier that he'd bring about 10 points back this year, and he mentioned you, and he said he's got 84% of his scoring coming back. Mm-hmm. What is that luxury like for you to maybe not have to worry about scoring, and you can focus on some other areas in the preseason, and what have been those other areas?
Yeah, I guess my first comment would be to say that we also have 84% of our defense coming back. And that's been we have a ceiling defensively. We don't have 6'4", 6'5", and we don't have the quickest guards where we probably can't be an elite defensive team. We're constructed probably to be a little bit better on the offensive end, but can we make appreciable gains on the defensive end? And so that's been kind of what you tell your players is, look, we were a top 20 offense in a lot of categories last year across the board, points per possession, fewest turnovers a game, we were in the top 5, assist to turnover ratio top 5. I mean, so we were really good on the offensive end, not every game, but over the 32 or 3 games we played. But can we be just a little bit better on the defensive end? And the answer should be yes, based on experience, right? I mean, you don't have to get taller or quicker to know how to defend something maybe just at a little bit higher level, or be committed to defending some things at a little bit higher level. And so those are probably the things that we're pushing a little bit more is don't take for granted that we can just outscore people or that we can be an average defensive team. Can we be a good defensive team? Maybe not a great or an elite, but can we make a jump defensively? And I think that's kind of been a focus. And we also lost 2 seniors who were really low turnover players. So I think the other thing that I'm just slightly worried about is, are we going to be a little bit higher turnover team? And we need to make sure that we're still, one of the better teams in the country. Because I know we can make shots, but if we don't get shots, we won't we won't make as many.
When you're looking at your returners and how you mentioned your ability to push them a little more, push them a little harder, when you look at someone like a Morgan Molly, how are you challenging her more this season?
Well, just to be decisive in some ways. Like, I think, the 3-on-3 probably is going to help her, because I said 12-second shot clock. You don't have a lot of time to overthink things, and so that's a good and a bad thing, because sometimes we want her to hold the ball and let something develop, and other times we want her to just catch and shoot and don't think about it. And the other part is I do think even the 3-on-3 helped her defensively. Like, in 3-on-3, you have to guard in space and you have to switch every screen, so you're guarding guards in space and you're guarding bigs, and so I do think there are some things defensively that she can take from that experience, but also from last year too. But she's still got ridiculous range and a quick trigger, and she's really worked to develop her post game too. And I feel like that at the end of the day, she can't just settle for threes. And when we, once in a while, when it gets a little too physical down there, she'll want to just back out and shoot that three like a lot of them do. But so just keep challenging her to not forget about her post game.
Yeah, that was really interesting to see Morgan teaming up with 2 Villanova rivals, Lucy Olson, Christina Dymond. I'd love to hear from them, kind of the bonds they formed. We'll see how they approach each other in between the lines. But just looking at the league as a whole right now, Coach, you've been a part of it for a while now. You know what? I'm going to pivot. I just had a thought. Jalen Agnew, former Big East player of the year, on your staff, has retired from her professional playing career. What has it been like to have Jalen as part of your staff now?
Yeah, it's great. Jalen, we're not supposed to have favorites, but she's one of my favorites. And just, young people pick up things quickly. Like, you don't learn as quickly when you get older, but you can say something to her and 3 minutes later you're getting a text in response to it's already done. And I'm like, there's a learning curve that she's already kind of exceeded, I think, and her voice will come. Like, she's getting the confidence to be on the floor every day. I've already seen some growth really over the last couple months, and so that'll be neat. And I do want to reference, though, that when one of my assistant coaches was introducing her recently, they said she was most valuable player before UConn came in the league, as if
Oh, she's so good at it. I remember the 43-point game.
Yeah, come on.
You can't take that. I would never say that to her.
Give credit where credit is due.
The Big East has always been tough.
That's right. Yeah. But no, we're super grateful to have her, and I think it'll be great both ways, both for her and for us.
We're excited to see Jalen in her new role. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa, who you got over there?
Meg, I'm with Morgan Molly. Incredible player for you. Excited to talk with her again this year. Let's talk about the summer, though, because you spent it traveling, playing 3-on-3. Where did basketball take you this summer?
I played 3-on-3 in China in June. I did a little trip to Canada in July and Mongolia in September.
When you're playing those games, and you also played with some of your teammates at Creighton, what did you learn about yourself during 3v3?
You gotta be super committed to communication and accountability in a different way than you do playing 5-on-5.
So in your 3-on-3, it took you all over the place. You had to try some different foods while you were out there. What did you try?
I tried duck and lamb, which might not seem like too out there to some people, but that was my first time trying that, and they were both good.
Duck and lamb, they probably helped you on the court a little bit, the protein that you got in there, because not only did you pick up 1, but 2 MVP honors this summer. What did you learn about those honors that you're hoping to take with you into the season this year?
I'm just trying to carry the success that we had this summer into this winter, and just I kind of had to be a leader in those for that team, and I kind of just want to blossom some more, hopefully, this season.
What kind of leader do you think you are?
I'm a doer. I'm not a super vocal person unless I have to be. I would rather just do it with my actions.
I like that, leading by example. You need those players for sure. You play some other sports. I hear that you've been picking up the pickleball racket and you've been hitting the court. So when you play, if you're going to play doubles, which teammate from your basketball team are you picking to play with you?
I'm picking Lauren Jensen. She's really good in singles. She whooped me this summer when we played, so I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather have her on my team.
What makes her such a good pickleball player?
Same thing with basketball. She just got can put some spin on the ball, and she's just like a little cat, agile. So she's just everywhere, and it's annoying.
So when you play with Lauren pickleball, she's a cat, she's everywhere. But what about on the basketball court? What do you like most about playing basketball with her?
She's super dependable. You can always, in the big moments, she's gonna come up and do something, whether that be put it in the hoop or make a pass to you. She's just a big time player.
This year is going to be big for this team to get back to the tournament, to continue to make a run throughout the NCAA tournament. What are your personal goals this season?
Personally, our team but I also want to just be super consistent. Our team just needs to be committed to making in-game adjustments, and me as well.
Okay, for you, it's all about the pregame routine and the playlist, the music in the locker room, on the bus, in the AirPods. What is your number 1 song on your playlist right now? Anything, any artist. Do you like artists?
Okay. I went to Chris Stapleton this summer, so I've been really into country and just him. Yeah. I would go with that, but pregame, it's not country.
That's okay. We like Chris Stapleton maybe after and the concerts this summer. Thank you so much and good luck this year. Megan?
Thank you so much, Lisa. Megan Duffy from Marquette joins us now. We were just chatting. We're talking about in the bonus. You're going to be coming on to in the bonus very soon. We're talking sneakers, all of the good things. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Great. Great to be back. Good to see you guys.
Great to be back. Great to have you back as well, especially with your team, who, when you look at it this season, you lose a big piece to your puzzle. Chloe Murata. How do you fill the intangibles that Chloe brought to your team?
Yeah, Chloe's career was all based on intangibles. I mean, even she played a lot early on in her career, but then just how her role ended up being as a all-league first-team kid. I mean, big-time scorer, rebounder. But when you know Chloe, it was all the intangible little things, the charges, the loose balls. So we've kind of approached it with our new team this year is just, kind of by committee. Who can dive on the floor one more time, who can chase down a rebound, because I'm not sure we'll ever find a Chloe Murata. We're looking for her out on the recruiting trail, but just the way she approached the game, she was so hard-nosed, so positive. I don't think anybody particularly is going to, fill that void, but I think it'll be a collective group.
I think it's going to be hard to name somebody else Miss Marquette.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be tough.
She has such a great story, too, with her family, and we talk to her almost, I feel like, every day. She's overseas playing, doing great, loving it over there. Her mom's over there. She might want to take your guys' job someday, so it's like she's got a lot on her plate, which is really good.
And Coach, while you're going to miss Chloe, you do return a big core, maybe headlines by Jordan King. We're so excited to see her continue to climb. Your team was picked 3rd in the preseason poll today. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah.
how are you challenging this year's group to just keep rising and rising in this league?
I think for us at Marquette, expectations stay the same. We want to be at the top echelon of the league. I think our roster looks a little bit different. We have a blend of some veterans. Obviously, you mentioned Jordan King, Liza Carlin, who's played a lot of basketball for us, Rose Nkumu, who's really helped Jordan tremendously in that backcourt, are all returners. And then we have kind of a mix of, a couple talented freshmen. We got a little bit from the transfer portal, so some new faces. And so we're kind of like trying to really kind of stay closed to ourselves of just like, let's build our culture. Let's continue to talk about winning plays and winning mentality. And then I always say you got to be a little lucky, you got to stay healthy, and then hope by the end of the year it all turns out the way you want it to go.
You got a little bit more than just a little from the transfer portal. You picked up the 2023 Patriot League Player of the Year, Franny Hottinger. What are you expecting from her to put on the court? What can the Big East expect to see from her coming over from the Patriot League?
I can't wait till you guys see Franny. A mid-major player who just got buckets. I mean, over 20 points, 10 rebounds. She definitely had to adjust a little bit to the level and the pace, but somebody who in her last year of college basketball wanted to play at that next level. I want to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. She brings a poise about herself. I think she's really going to help Carlin inside. We can move Franny around to some different positions as well. And then as much as she hasn't been in our program, she embodies the work ethic, the toughness, the selfless nature that we've always been about here at Marquette. So really looking forward to seeing her on the court finally.
Ice, I feel like I'm going to steal a question from you, but sticking with the topic of transfers, there's a ton of transfers in the league this season. When you and your staff were looking into the transfer portal, how do you go about attacking that?
Yeah, it's a lot with this portal. I think we're learning each and every year about it. I think one of the things when somebody would transfer, it always meant that there was a problem, right? And I think now the way things are changing, there's a lot of different reasons why. And I think one of the things we've tried to stay consistent with our coaching staff and our philosophy is just find the fit. Find players who maybe needed a different kind of opportunity. Franny's a great example of that, right? In her last year, wanted a chance to play at a little higher level in the Big East. Maybe a situation at another school didn't go out, didn't happen the way they wanted to. So again, we still want really good quality human beings. Our philosophy at Marquette too is we want to develop you on and off the court. So it's not just about the basketball. We want you to care about school and developing, your career aspirations. So finding that fit is really important to us. And I think it's a little bit, for some of us, we're going to find out, right? We're still kind of, new and premature in this world with NIL, with the portal, and I'm looking forward to. I like who we got, and again, you got to mesh it all together and make it work. And I think that's what separates, I think the teams who end up being successful is can you mesh that new talent, people who haven't been on the big stage, or maybe it looks a little different to ultimately find your success.
Coach, I know you were really sweating it out last March. We were sweating it out with you. Are the Golden Eagles going to get into the tournament? You did, one of 5 teams from the Big East to get there last season. But from getting to know you, we know you're extremely competitive. You know you want the best for your players. What do you think is that next step to not just getting in the tournament? I believe you may have been in an 8-9 game. Those are always so tight. Kind of what's that next step to winning and moving on in the tournament?
Yeah, everybody said we were okay. I never feel like we're okay, so that's why my celebration was good. But yeah, I think some veteran coaches have told me what we're trying to accomplish at Marquette is one of the hardest things to do. You've been consistently good. You've been in the tournament. How do you get to that next phase? And we're just kind of trying to look at a little bit of everything: recruiting, how we develop our players, how we build relationships, just the landscape of college basketball, what you need to do to not only be in the tournament, but how do you get your seeding better? Yeah, you go face an 8-9 game with an equal opponent, and then when you play South Carolina on their home floor, it's challenging, right? So just trying to look at those little nuances in all different ways. And I'm not sure there's a perfect recipe to it, but what I love is the challenge of how can we get Marquette not only on the national scene, but that next little group of teams that you're playing in that second weekend.
Coach, I want to talk Jordan King. I know the big awareness that everyone has about her, that she's just a staple of this league. I feel like we've been talking about her for 10 years at this point, but I know that you're also still demanding more out of her. How can she make this season her best season for the Golden Eagles?
We're so fortunate to have her back for her 5th year. She took her extra COVID year, and just so proud of the woman she's becoming. I mean, she's getting, by the time this year's over, she'll have her master's in school counseling. She'll be going on to play professionally. And I think the big thing that Jordan just continues to impress me in is I can still coach her hard. I can still raise the bar for her. We can talk deeper things about leadership. We can still talk about little things that will make her game better. She's, since the day she walked on campus at Marquette, it was never about Jordan King. It was about this program. It was about her teammates. And, sometimes you worry as they get a little older, do they still want to hear that messaging? Do they still want to buy in? And she is 2 feet in, 110% of every ounce of her effort. And again, with her school, curriculum and what she's doing outside of just basketball, it's really fun to watch, and I couldn't be more proud of her. I hope she has her best year yet because she deserves it. She's continuing to help our young players evolve and our new players of this is how we do it at Marquette. This is the expectation. So when it's coming from your best player, that's always a good thing.
Every bit of a leader, both on and off the court. Megan Duffy, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa is now with Jordan King.
Megan, yes, I am with Jordan. Jordan, this is the 5th year for you, and under Coach King or Coach Duffy, everything that you have learned from her. How has your game evolved since being at Marquette under her?
Yeah, I think that just seeing the growth from my freshman year to my 5th year, there's just been a ton of growth offensively, defensively, and as a person. And I think that that's something that I really, thank Coach Duffy for a lot. Just the way that she's been able to develop me. I think even taking the time on the offensive end, being able to break down film with me, her stepping into an individual, running the individual. Obviously, a lot of times it's an assistant coach's position for that, and she likes to be super hands-on. And so she's had a great role with that. But I can't thank her enough and the program enough for the way that they developed me into the player and person I am.
In this past summer, this past off season, what part of your game did you focus on the most to develop into this final collegiate year?
Yeah, I think when you get older, obviously you can't just reinvent the wheel. There's little things that you have to continue to learn, get better at. And I would say for me, just offensively continuing to make little critiques, whether that was, ball screen reads. Obviously our offense runs heavy through some ball screen actions, and even just adding little things to, get a different edge on defenders. And so being able to, up those a little bit more, I think was a big thing. And like I said, just little small details that I think will make a big difference when it comes down to the games.
I want to talk about teammate Rose Nakumo because this is a player that the chemistry has continuously been building. What aspect of playing with Rose do you love the most?
Rose is a great teammate, first of all. I think that she's been one who has stepped up to the plate when we've needed her most. And, this is something that I don't think she gets enough credit for. And I am, the first one to tell her that my success, honestly, I don't think happens without her. She's able to, work us defensively. She's that defensive stopper for us, and I think that's a huge thing. But obviously running the point for us as well, taking some of that off my plate to get me out on the wing a little bit more and in scoring positions within our offense. So I think she's a really special player to us that might go unnoticed by people on the outside, but definitely within our circle, within our program, we know how much she means to us. And like I said, just a really great teammate and a person to be around who's going to, put the group before herself.
Playing at Marquette and on campus, a heavy home schedule and a home stretch for you throughout your basketball schedule. Why do you like playing at the Al McGuire Center?
I mean, honestly, I kind of just got chills when you said that of how many home games we have this year, but I just love playing in front of that crowd. I think that there's so many different aspects that venue brings for us. I just think that the way it's a smaller environment but brings so many fans to make it feel like a big game every time we step on the floor. We have a lot of fan support, whether that's from Marquette Athletics, our fellow student athletes, our friends, our family members, the Marquette community extended, so the kids that come to our camps, and even the Milwaukee community. I think that there's just so much support around women's basketball for us, and obviously being a basketball school, being a basketball conference, that's something huge at Marquette. So being in the Al, there's just so much energy, obviously, that our team brings that the fans like, and it carries over.
Okay, so when the fans are packing the Al and you're in the groove, it's the middle of a game, you need the fan support at that moment. What do you want the fans to do?
I think just the way that they'll get up on their feet sometimes, obviously sports are easy to just sit back, chill, relax, watch the game, but get into the game, show us some excitement. Obviously Rose will lead this sometimes, but we give a good floor slap, like get up, get on your feet. I think it's really exciting when the crowd gets into it like that.
That is so exciting, Jordan. Thank you. We expect all the fans at the Al McGuire Center to do a floor slap with them. Why not? Stomp your feet in the stands. Thank you so much, Jordan. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Big East Media Day when we return.
Fresh warm hot dogs. When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics.
Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one.
Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh, warm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country. It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
1, 2, 3,
From signing day
we'll put this right here.
to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
Video, Lisa. I mean,
Oh, I like that.
This is fun. I had no idea that this is what it did. Cute.
Please don't close that down before we get a chance to try it
Yeah,
out.
we want our turn.
I'm actually going to go now.
Okay.
You guys take care of this.
We'll see it. Have you gotten on it yet, Austin?
My players are handling it for me. I think I'll do a good job.
Austin Parkinson, Butler's head coach, is with us now. Coach, last season, your first year in the Big East. How do you assess how year number 1 went for you?
I mean, if you had told me sitting here last year we'd have won 11 games in the most difficult Big East, in the last several years, I'd have signed up for it. And how we got there, from Christmas until the start of the second half of Big East, we were without 3 starters. And you're trying to turn around a program, that's tough. But I was really proud of our kids. I think we won 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 late. And I thought it gave us really good momentum going into the offseason.
Yeah, Coach, I said to you right before we came on, I feel like you're at least in your 3rd season because I think you got so much done in that first year. We're going to get into some of the players that you've brought in, but I remember talking to you last year in terms of, it takes some time to bring in the personnel you want to play the style you want to play. How are you liking how that style is going to start to take shape in year 2?
Yeah, 2 things. I think the one thing I've told people is it's nice to go into airports now and not say, hey, are you the soccer team or golf team? Because we were small, and now we're 6'3", 6'4" from a size standpoint. The other thing is I've always had point guards that are pretty quick, could push pace and heat up the basketball. We did not have that last year. Good players, but didn't have that speed, and so we've got 2 point guards that can really do that and go, and I think that's going to change the pace with which we play.
Coach, I want to talk about Rachel Kent. A lot of times we talk about coaches getting reunited with former players. It's because the players become coaches, not because they come back to your program after being without you for a year. How excited are you to bring Rachel Kent back, and knowing that you're bringing a player that's experienced success with you at your last school at IUPUI?
Yeah, probably one of the top 3 favorite players I've ever coached, not just because of her basketball ability, but she could play 38 minutes every single game. She guards the best player. She shoots 40% from 3. She knows everything you're doing on the court. And in practice, that sets a tone for everybody else. To have her day in and day out, I've already seen the impact. But it's a lot of fun when you can start running certain plays again because she's a bucket if you're going to run it for her, and we've been able to do that so far.
How have you seen her already come into the program and be a leader?
Well, she's not a crazy vocal person, but she's such a high character in how she goes about her business, first on the court, last to leave, works her tail off in the weight room, and then just how hard she plays day in and day out really sets a tone for everybody else. And the other thing is she's always going to look you right in the eye. She's got great body language. And, if you're a young player, that's what you want to see out of a veteran.
Coach, looking at 2 other transfers you've brought in, Lily Stoddard, Purdue, Ari, am I saying that right? Ari Wiggins from Michigan, both Indiana natives, both former top 100 recruits in their class. How important is it to kind of start to get these Indiana kids to look at Butler as a destination for success?
Yeah, I mean, both of those kids obviously chose Big Ten schools out of high school. And in both instances, I felt like the culture piece for them was huge, and kind of our importance and emphasis on the relationship aspect with the players. Ari, I think, is going to be really good from a point guard perspective. Michigan's had a very successful run, and some of the players that we're playing over are All-Americans. So it doesn't mean that Ari can't play, just this was maybe a better fit for her, and she's really going to have an impact at the point guard spot. And then Lily, we needed size. We struggle to rebound, struggle to block shots. She provides both of those things and should help our defense quite a bit.
You got into the Big East and you made a splash right away. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but for you, what is the improvement that you want to make from a coaching perspective going into your second year in this league?
I love the Big East from the standpoint, I think the rosters cause you to have roster flexibility. You play an athletic team like a DePaul, a Seton Hall, the next night you're playing a physical Marquette team or a tall and talented UConn team. You got to have flexibility. One night maybe you're going big, the next night maybe you're going small. So the roster flexibility, and then the coaches are so good in this league, there's no off nights. You can look at, I don't care how many Power 5 conferences are, you can look and see there's some off nights. There's no off nights in the Big East.
You're not the newbie anymore. We got fresh faces in the league this season. You're like, whew, got that done over with last year.
Yep.
Last year you were able to establish the new culture. What is the culture that you now have at Butler?
Well, we've got to get back to on the court defending.
Yeah.
It was hit and miss last year from that standpoint, but defending on the court and just being competitive. We want to get a group of kids that are going to outwork everybody. We don't have UConn's McDonald's All-Americans, right? Like, we might stop by McDonald's. We don't have McDonald's All-Americans.
What's your McDonald's order?
2 hamburgers and fries, for me. But our kids understand that they've got
money on the table. I mean,
what's that? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
McDonald's.
But our kids understand that they've got to outwork. They've got to make it up in the margin. So we've got talented players, but we got to be more disciplined and work harder as we kind of bridge that gap.
Coach picked 8th in the preseason poll, which again, considering what you took over, you might think, I'll take that. You strike me as a coach, as a group that can knock some of these higher teams off. What will it take to kind of catch some of these teams by surprise? Maybe it's not a surprise for them, but to take down some of these teams that are 3rd, 4th, 5th in the preseason.
We lost 8 games last year by single digits, and I went back at the end of the year, and the 2 biggest categories that hurt us were points off turnovers and second chance points. And neither of those are new plays, new players. Like, we've got to get more physical from a defensive standpoint and boxing out, and then we got to take care of the basketball. And our goal is hopefully to finish in the top half of the Big East. If you're doing that, you're probably playing in postseason play. We've got to stay healthy. We don't have a lot of room for error in that regard, but I like where our team's going and the direction we're heading.
What are the main challenges you anticipate in your non-conference slate that you can fix and tighten up before Big East play starts?
Yeah, well, we use those extra games to compete. We play a Big 10, Big 12, and SEC in our non-conference, but we've got to establish an identity on defense. For some of those games that got away from us last year, the theme is defense lives here. Last year was defense vacations here. And so we've got to get that to where it's consistent game in and game out so that we can win some of those close games down the stretch.
I need that on a t-shirt too.
I feel like you should have like a coffee table book.
We've got defense lives here. We don't need defense vacations here.
Okay, I'm vacationing, so I just need that part.
Coffee mug, front and back. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa, let's send it over to you.
Thanks, Meg. I'm with graduate transfer Rachel Kent in her first year with Butler, but you're very familiar with Coach Parkinson. He recruited you formerly, and now you're back playing under him. Why did you choose to play with him again?
I think just the coaching style. I think he's a great person, big heart. He actually cares about the players. I know a lot of people say that they have emphasis on family, but you can see it in everything he does, from team bonding to talking to you, catching up with you. And I think the rest of the coaching staff is amazing too. But also just Butler and the excellence that they have. And I know we're building up the program right now, but we're going to be better than we were last year, and I'm just excited for it.
You're going to be better than you were last year, and it was a big improvement year last year. What can we expect from the team this season?
I think we just take it one game at a time, but I think better in terms of running the offense. I think better in terms of communicating, taking charges, just laying your body on the line for the team. So, yeah.
This is your first year playing in the Big East, and fans are excited to watch you get out on the court. What can fans expect from you?
I think consistency. That's what I've tried to do. I was just talking about this before, but in the off season, I'm working, I'm training, and just to make my team better. So I don't think it's about me, and it's not about a certain number I can put up, but just consistency. And I shoot a lot of threes, so getting to that 40% mark. I think consistency on defense and just never letting my person score. That's my goal.
So for fans that have been following your career this year, you changed your basketball number. You're now wearing the number 10. What is the significance of that?
Okay, so there's two reasons. First reason being my best friend Allie Berg transferred also, so she goes to Loyola. Shout out to her. This is her number. But also I'm engaged this year, and so my fiance's grandpa is Rick Mount. And for those of you who don't know, he was the all-time leading scorer at Purdue, and so he's a shooter. Like, that's all he did, shooter, shooter, shooter. So, just to represent him, number 10 this year.
Congratulations. Let's hear the proposal story. How did it happen?
Okay, well, it's actually kind of a huge surprise, which is supposed to be, but I really didn't know it was coming. My parents were visiting one weekend, so I guess he thought it'd be a good time to do it then. And he asked me what ring I liked, but he already had it picked out, which I didn't know. And so we went to a greenhouse called Garfield Park Conservatory, and it was under a waterfall. And yeah, I walked in with his mom, his sister, and my parents. Didn't know he was there, and he grabbed my hand and proposed. So
magical. That is incredible. You also got to travel a little bit this summer. You went on a cruise to Alaska. What did you like most about Alaska?
Well, thanks to my grandma for that. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. I just like the nature of it. There's so many amenities on the cruise, but I'd be out at 6 in the morning on the deck looking for wildlife in the water. I think we saw 6 whales, tons of sea otters. We saw seals, you name it. There was everything out there.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. We are excited to watch you, and I know fans are as well. Good luck this year. Megan, back to you.
Get to be joined with the commissioner of the Big East Conference, Val Ackerman, at the set. Val, when you look at Big East women's basketball, we talked about it at the top of the show. You mentioned it in your notes as well. A record season, 5 teams to the NCAA tournament, a great season for St. John's. You look at the players going to the WNBA draft. How do you assess the progress that the league has taken?
First, great being with all of you.
All girls.
All those ways. I mean, I think there's not one thing. It's just sort of that package of here's how we finished, here's who went to the tournament, here's how they did. The Maddie Segrist story last year was a highlight, at least for me. A great player and a great person, and we were thrilled to see her getting into the WNBA. And then some of the other business metrics around attendance and the viewership and the growing interest by our network partners in putting the women's games on television. It's not one thing. I think it's all those things, Megan. So I think the point I was trying to make was you sort of come into the season and you've got these, tailwinds behind you. And you just hope, you can just build on that every year. And it doesn't always happen. Sometimes teams lose a lot of players and they kind of, backslide a little bit. But I think this year there's just such a sense of excitement on both the men's and women's fronts, I think. And so, we've got a ton of optimism as we head into this season and beyond.
Yeah, Val, I was going to ask you as, a pillar of women in sport, somebody who's been in the trenches since day one with the WNBA, now in your role at the Big East, what are some specific areas that you're looking forward to seeing continue to grow and flourish in this upcoming season?
Well, I think for our schools, number one is how well you do on the court. I mean, that's the most visible marker, right? Are you making it to the tournament? Are you, going far? UConn has been the proof positive of what happens when you invest in women's basketball and you have an iconic coach and you're able to kind of continue your successes because of your past successes. So that, to me, he's the model. I mean, what that program has accomplished. And so in sort of subtle and direct ways, we sort of hold that up as, look, guys, here's, this could happen to you too. And so we're hoping, some of that continues to rub off. We have a number of schools in the league which have really stepped up, I would say, in terms of the amenities that they offer to women's sports writ large. I mean, there's requirements around that, but they're just doing more. The facilities that are being constructed that have men's and women's components that are, equal. I was actually just last week at DePaul, who is investing in a major basketball facilities project. Nice. They're going to build a new on-campus gym for basketball, and it's going to be exactly equal, as it should be. So, we're beginning to see that. We hope with our next television deal we can do better with women's basketball. I came into the league and that had already been negotiated and it wasn't what it should be. So we're hoping we can make some progress on that front. And then we're very happy with our tournament that you've been part of, you'll see, at Mohegan Sun Arena with the great crowds that are coming there. It seems like the perfect venue, particularly with UConn in the league. So it's all those things along the way. And then we keep our eye, obviously, on what's happening nationally in women's basketball. And then not just in the college game. So I was able to, check out some WNBA this summer, and it just warms my heart to see, really, it just feels different to me and more widespread, the interest and the traction and the support for the players and the name recognition of them and so on. So I think it's just, not one thing. Back to my earlier, it's not one thing. Yeah. It's just sort of the package of things that make you believe that it's getting better and has a brighter future.
And you were able to catch some of those WNBA games with your daughter, correct? She's got season tickets to the Liberty.
I treated my daughter as a Christmas present to season tickets for the Liberty. She went to I think she missed one game.
Wow.
So it was just sort of full circle for me because Sally, my daughters were they were 3-1 or 4-2. I can't remember when the league launched. So they grew up in the shadow of that. And it was very hard, as a working mom to do that job and be the kind of mom you wanted to be all the time. And so now they kind of look back and I think they kind of have a sense now of, hey, that was like kind of a big deal.
How cool.
So I feel a little bit better about it, now than I did back then at times.
Coach, history has been made recently, and the Big East was a part of it. The Blue Demons playing Iowa outside, 55,000 plus fans. How can we generate more events like that to really push the game forward, but make sure that we're keeping the Big East in it?
Yeah, well, my hat goes off to Coach Bruno for being willing to be, in that setting, because Iowa's pretty good, and he wasn't at home and so on. But I think those kinds of events are helpful. You can't do that every day. And part of the appeal is that it doesn't happen all the time. So if you're a fan, you're being told, come be part of history. We're going to break a record. And that's a motivator. But I think it does prove the power in growing ways of women's sports and the appeal and wanting to be part of that moment. And I do think there's room for more of that here. And so that's caught the attention of everybody. And so I think, it kind of prompts us to sort of double down and think about how can we be innovative and creative and come up with ways, not always to do everything just like the men. There's some things that we've learned from the men's side that we incorporate and do by rote. But I think there are other, reasons to try to make women's basketball be cast in a different light. And that was a great example of that. And the one-upmanship is the other thing I would note. It was sort of, hey, we're going to do better than volleyball, et cetera. That competition, I think, is kind of cool and healthy.
You mentioned the work in progress of progressing with the TV deal, but when you look at this season, 26 games will be on Fox, a record 5 on Big Fox. How proud are you of that continued growth in the TV?
It's what you want. I mean, it's the right heading in the right direction, and I want to laud Fox for their openness on women's basketball. Certainly helpful with UConn because of their high profile and the ratings. I mean, it is a business after all, so they know they're going to get good numbers whenever UConn plays. But the fact that Fox is stepping up, helping us, they're going above the contract minimums, which is not always the case when you have a network partner. But they've been really great. And they're proud of the records. We have had record audiences for some of these games, and that's good for Fox. It shines a good light there, and it supplements, augments what they're trying to do in women's sports. I think about the Women's World Cup as a case in point. They were the network partner there. They did more for that event than has ever been done before by a network partner. So whatever we can do to keep them energized, motivated, inspired to do more. If it comes from somebody else, that's great, but if the Big East can be helpful on that, that's great too.
Yeah. And Val, as a conference commissioner, we have to bring up a hot button topic right now, realignment. It seems every day we're hearing of a team moving conferences, a conference may not exist next season. Well, that's simply not the case with the Big East right now. As far as we know, it is stable. When it comes to college basketball specifically, why is the Big East the best conference in America?
Thank you for that. By the way, I appreciate that endorsement. It's not one thing. That's my theme here. It's not one thing. It's just the sort of this package of attributes. I think that that we sort of have here at the Big East that hopefully make schools want to be part of this. I mean, being here today is one. Having this as our venue for our men's tournament. Having Mohegan Sun as our venue for the women's tournament. Being on national television in a meaningful way. Having schools that are aligned, I think, is really sometimes the value of that. I worry is getting sort of diluted here. Having schools that are really they're alike. UConn is a different school than our others because they're a big public. We have 10 private schools, 9 Catholic schools. And so, but they care deeply about basketball. They're in our footprint. They've got a history with the league. They were a charter school when the league was founded. So there is that sort of tie. So we have tried to create an environment where our schools are thriving. They've got pride about the association with the conference and each other. And I wish I had the crystal ball to speak to where's the world going to be in 5 years. Where the world is now, I never dreamed it would be 5 years ago. So I don't think anybody, has that in their mind's eye, the future. But I like where we are. I think we've got great chances right now. And certainly I can attest, basketball comes first in the Big East. And we have a lot of other conferences out there that are really good basketball conferences, but football is first in those leagues. In our league, and I said it today, if there's a soul of college basketball, you're going to find it in this league. And our schools know that, and they're proud of it. And as long as we can hold that together, I think we're going to be in good shape.
I honestly just want to thank you for allowing us to have In the Bonus. It is our podcast where we are covering Big East women's basketball. We're talking about national stories. And I honestly just want to say thank you for putting in place media to increase the coverage of a good basketball brand that we have here. Great. And I guess lastly, how important is that we can still create coverage and push content forward that represents the product on the floor well?
I think it's super important because, particularly because in the case of women's sports, it's sometimes a different type of fan than you see in men's sports. And the fans that we've seen, that I've experienced over the years, really do care about the storytelling. They want to know the stories. They want to know who these women are and get to know them better. And that's where, the great work that you all do comes in, because we're so proud of the work you guys have done to tell the stories of the Big East. And In the Bonus will just be another avenue to do that. I told our folks we would love it to be not just, we would like to be broader think broader. It's not just about women's basketball in the Big East, and that's a big part of this. But we have other sports we sponsor. We have women's basketball nationally that we can tell stories about. Like, we know people. I think I can probably get you guys a couple of good guests on the show.
You know people.
Okay, I know people. We know people.
We can
get some good guests on the show.
That was our new casting.
Yeah, I'm going to be your casting director here, your talent manager, whatever. Just call on me. Because I think it is important to show how all this links together. It's all part of like a big mosaic. And if we can help, volleyball or soccer or some other sport, field hockey, we've had a great history in the conference. We want to do our part to help everybody. So I just want to thank all of you for signing on and being part of that, because I know you're going to do a great job for us.
Thank you, Val.
Thank you very much, Val. The Hall of Famer, the commissioner of the Big East, Val Ackerman, everybody. Lisa, you've got a special guest over there, huh?
I do, Meg. Thanks so much. I'm here with UConn's Paige Fukers. This is a much anticipated year for you. After nearly a year and a half off the court, you've been voted Big East Preseason Player of the Year. How much pressure is that for you?
Honestly, it's just a lot of pressure to play at UConn. I mean, the expectations are high. I feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to just come back and be the best version of myself I could be. It means a lot to be the Preseason Player of the Year, but truly it means nothing because you got to go out there and prove it. But I'm blessed and I'm grateful, and I'm excited to be back on the court.
A long time that you spent on the sideline of the court. What did you learn during that stretch?
I think I learned a lot. definitely in life, just never taking anything for granted, just being grateful for everything you do have. And I think basketball-wise, just the importance of communication in the little details, and sort of when I'm coming back, sort of teaching the other guys that, and embracing that, and trying to be a leader in the way I communicate and lead by example. So I learned a lot of things.
This team has continued to evolve last year with new players coming in and the growth overall of the UConn women's basketball program. Now that you're back into the fold, how do you see yourself fitting into this incredible puzzle?
I think I can just mix a lot of things. I think I bring playmaking, passing, the ability to score off the dribble. But I think there's a lot of new pieces that we're sort of molding together, and I think a lot of people are capable of a lot of different things. Very versatile group, and I'm excited to see how we all mesh it together.
This summer, UConn spent some time overseas. You got to visit Croatia, which is your teammate Nika Mule's hometown. She got to take you around. What did she teach you about Croatia?
She taught us a lot. I mean, we sort of embraced her culture, walked the streets she walked, ate the food she eats growing up. So just to be there, to see her family, to see how much it meant to them, to see how much it meant to us, to just be able to embrace that and visit her home was a truly amazing experience.
What was the coolest thing that you guys did while you were traveling and overseas?
I think the zip line we did was extremely cool. I think we did that in Slovenia. And honestly, just spending every second together and embracing each other, embracing the different cultures that we were in, and just quality time, I think, was the coolest thing.
Okay, zip lining. I need to know more about this. Where were you? Were you nervous at all? Who's the first teammate to do it?
Yeah, we were in Slovenia. I think it's like the longest zip line in Europe. I could be wrong. You can fact check me, but I think I'm right. But I was very nervous. I don't really like heights, but it was extremely fun. After like the first time you went, you became like a little less anxious, a little more relaxed. I don't even know who was the first one. I think it was a majority of us did it, so we all kind of got to experience it.
So you got to try some food over there in Croatia as well. Nika bringing out the good stuff for you. What did you like that you ate?
I love the Parmesan tortellini we had in Italy. It's kind of bad to say, but I had like the best burger of my life in Slovenia. But a lot of different pastas. I would say the tortellini was probably my favorite.
I mean, burgers, tortellini, I think that's pretty good. You also, Paige, got into golf this summer. Tell us, why'd you pick up a golf club?
I don't know. I kind of honestly watched a lot of former basketball players do it. I watched Steph Curry get a hole-in-one, and I go to Top Golf, which is not necessarily the real thing, but then I was like, I wasn't too bad at Top Golf, so then I wanted to try the real thing, and then I've just been practicing. Haven't taken it seriously, but I think in my future I could if I get enough practice in. But it's sort of just like a fun hobby I've sort of adapted.
We can't wait to hear when you get your first hole-in-one, because I bet you it's around the corner if you keep it up. Paige, thank you so much, and good luck this year.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, Megan, over to you at the desk.
It's one of the first things they taught me when I was doing games for ESPN.
Yeah.
You had to hold the mic.
It's a tough thing to do. Yeah. I used to slant mine a little bit.
And it has to be fake.
You're showing that logo.
It can't be like that.
We're doing such a great job.
We learn new things every day.
Watch out, Coach. Jeez. We saved the best for last.
See
Hey,
that?
Coach, how's your day been going?
Oh, we're on?
Yeah,
live?
we've been on.
Thank
Oh,
you.
we've been on the whole
You just
time?
gave everybody.
Oh,
you just gave everybody
I didn't know that.
Really good trick.
Sorry about that. Sorry
But
about
I
that.
think you meant to say Fox Sports. That's
You
it.
know,
That's all you
sorry
meant.
about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we just saw her talking
Big East.
with Lisa.
Yeah. Where's our Fox logo?
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
We'll get them next time.
I know.
We just saw, and we got to hear from Paige a little bit, talking to Lisa. Coach, how excited are you, simply put, to have her back?
Not as excited as she is to be back. Let's put it that way. I don't think anybody can match the excitement that she brings to the court every time she shows up. And she's there every day. That's the beauty of it. And she was there every day when she couldn't play. So to have someone who loves the game, the passion that she has for the game, and then actually be able to play the game now, it rubs off on everybody. To see just how much fun she's having, it's hard not to get affected by that.
Coach, this time a year ago, you knew that you weren't going to have Paige. You knew you weren't going to have Ice Brady. going into this season, fingers tightly crossed, you have pretty much your whole group heading into this season. How does that put you mentally compared to where you were a year ago?
First of all, you had forgotten how good it can look when you have the ability to, all right, I have to give this guy a rest.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't do that before. So they were stuck. You were stuck because you were watching someone try to perform at a level that was below where they could perform because they were just exhausted. Second, you can change the way the team looks just with a couple substitutions. Thirdly, you add somebody like Paige, that's like adding 3 different players.
Yeah.
Okay? And then Ice is a big kid that has skills that are different than Aaliyah's. So now you put those 2 together and you say, all right, so even though she's a freshman and hasn't played, she gives us a dimension that I just wish she would have played last year when we had Dorka as well. So you're now all of a sudden faced with some options that are all really, really, really good. And going to practice, you look around, and there's a smile on your face. And that wasn't there much last year. There wasn't much smiling at practice last year. There was always looking around, waiting for the next year to drop, So it's been a lot of fun so far.
Happy to hear that.
Really has.
I love that.
Really
Coach, you never shy away from playing the best competition because normally you are the best competition. But I mean, the South Carolina, Louisville, UNC, there's more on the list
Notre
that I'm
Dame?
forgetting. Notre
Yeah.
Dame.
Texas.
I mean,
UCLA.
those are
Where's
teams.
Kansas.
Come on.
9
Keep it
or
going.
10 teams right now in a non-conference league.
It's
What are
crazy.
you hoping to learn about your team, though, through all of those tough games?
I should learn not to schedule that many teams. But I've always thought players want to play against the best players, right? So when you tell them this is who we're playing, they get excited about that. So you lay out the schedule for them at the beginning of the season and you go, all right, listen, this is no joke now. So we need to be ready, not for the end of December when the conference season starts. We need to be ready November 8th or whatever when the season starts. And then what happens is you're playing games that if you win, it validates how good you think we are. And if you don't win and don't play well, it reinforces what you're saying in practice that we need to get better. I think teams that don't put themselves in that situation are not able to gain the valuable information that you get winning or losing. So I always want to put ourselves in that place where we can do that. And it's a responsibility too that UConn has, that you represent not just UConn, but the Big East and what we stand for and what we're trying to do. And the perception's always been at the Big East that we maybe don't have what the SEC or the Big Ten or these other schools have, but I don't know that there's a lot of those schools dying to play our teams in the NCAA tournament. And I think that comes from the competition that we play, leading up to the tournament.
Aaliyah Edwards last year stepped up for you guys big time. What role is she going to take on this season? How much more growth does she have in her?
I think Aaliyah would have been first-team All-American based on what she did November, December, January. I do think that it all caught up to us in February. All of us, the entire team, struggled, and that may have affected people's perception of what kind of year she had. So if you think she's an automatic double-double, she's going to defend the other team's best, not just best big kid, but she can defend all 5 positions on the floor. Her consistency of being able to make enough 15, 16, 17 footers could put her at the whole nother level. So when she's got that going, it's great. I think she has to believe in it more, and she's worked on it a lot. But being a senior now and not having to go 40 minutes and be the only one out there that's, especially when Dorka was out all that time. So I think having other players around her, in addition to all the things that Aaliyah did last year, I see her at practice now, and she's become more of a leader, not just, you know, someone who's looking at other people to lead. I think she's taken an active leadership role.
Wow, really looking forward to seeing her just flourish. Talking about things we're excited about, Paige Bueckers and AZ Fudd. I've said this phrase before, basketball fans have been robbed of seeing those two on the floor together. Based on what you've seen in practice the last couple of months, can you remind us of just the potential, how special that duo has to be when it crystallizes?
Yeah, when you think about, they've been at UConn for something like, I don't know, well, 2 years together. That almost adds up to like 65 games or something like that. I think they play like 11 or something like that, or 12. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and we haven't gotten a chance to see that. And AZ's been great on her own, and Paige was great her freshman year when AZ wasn't here. So yeah, the idea that the two of them together could be great. But if you look back to the NC State game a couple years ago that we had to win, right, to go to the Final Four, and then the semifinal game against Stanford, you know. So that's just like a small snapshot of what could be. And I'm most excited about the fact that they both love being in the gym. There's never a day that you'll go in there and you won't see either one or both of them in the gym. So they get a lot of pleasure out of the game. And you're right, we've been robbed. Because when you go to a show or something, you want to see people that love being on stage, right? It just emanates from them. Yeah. And these two have that. And I'm excited just to, when I watch it in practice, it's uncanny how they feed off each other. It's just, and but with the great thing with Paige is she'll find you. Like, she just knows where you are. And we had Nika almost lead the country in assists last year. So there's a lot of shots out there for AZ. And I think she's the happiest person on campus right now.
Does that duo remind you of any other duos you've coached in your time?
Well, I shouldn't say that. They're kind of flipped. AZ's too quiet. She's too quiet. Like, if she was a little bit louder, you know, but we've had so many great combinations, but not recently. The closest would be like when we have Mariah Jefferson and Kalena Lewis. You know, we had that group. You know, you had one like this, and the other one just a silent assassin. You know. That's the closest one that I could think of, you know.
Coach, KK Arnold.
Yeah.
Picked preseason freshman of the year.
Yeah.
The ability and the opportunity that she has to learn and grow with Paige, AZ, Nika. How excited are you about KK and what we're going to see from her this year?
You know how sometimes people use the word to describe some players as electric, you know?
Ooh.
Which means that there's electricity that's different in their body than everybody else's. She has that. So some people are really talented and they're very understated. And she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And what makes her amazing is she doesn't care. Because she's only a freshman, she goes, I'm not supposed to know all that. All I know is this is what I do. We score, I pick you up full court, and I bite your leg and I don't let go for the rest of the possession. And when you shoot and we get the rebound and I get the outlet, we're off to the races, and I don't care what happens when we get down there, but something good's going to happen. So now it's just on us to have fun watching it, and then little by little, you know, kind of mold it into, and her watching the way Paige and Nika and those guys, you know, manage things. She has something that none of our other guards have.
Wow.
So when you have somebody like that, you know, it's like things are moving at a nice pace, and then you drop her into the water and the ripples are everywhere, everywhere. And she has the kind of personality that just is infectious.
You light up talking
I
about
love
her.
the
I'm
kid.
vision
of like a
sold.
shark.
I do.
I'm ready.
I do.
You light up talking about her.
I love it because I love when you have drivers like that. She's a driver.
I'm envisioning a shark in the water.
She is. She's exactly like
and
that.
I'm envisioning, based on your defensive description, that her and Nika like picking up full court
Yeah.
could
It's
be
gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, we need, when those two are out on the floor, we need the officials, you know, when people had to wear masks and stuff, we need them to cover their eyes. So when those two are on the floor, we need the officials, cover your eyes, pretend you didn't see what you just saw.
Look away.
Because those two, they're a nightmare for other players. Yeah,
Well,
they're a nightmare.
Coach, the fun, the excitement that you have for your team for this season, we can feel it. We can feel it from you.
I do.
Yeah.
I know. Somebody told me they think I'm like their grandfather.
Oh. One of your players?
But grandfather's supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah, the best. There we go.
People love their grandparents way more than they love their own parents.
That's very grandparents
I know,
are a nice
I-
one. You
that's
go
right.
to them when you need, a
That's
couple
right.
extra bucks.
That's right.
Or
So
you
that's
pop
right.
up.
They come to me when they need, except they don't know. If they're going to get a couple bucks from me, it's going to cost them. Nothing's free. Sorry.
Real quick before we leave you,
Yeah.
Phillies. How are we feeling about the Phillies?
Ugh.
You and Denise don't
All right, we need-
talk about this.
Come on.
All right, we need Schwarber to lead off with a home run. All right, then we need a Trey Turner double or triple. We need a Bryce Harper 2-run homer. We need like a 4-run first inning.
Oof. So we're up 7-0 at this point.
Then we
We're
need
rolling.
the Phils. Then we need the Phils fans to do what they do best.
I was just going to say, this
And the
is a
rest
home
is
game.
history.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got to fire up.
Oh yeah, this will be.
Citizens Bank.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well,
You're
first
not
of all,
going to the
I would
game,
not
are
want
you?
to be
You're
in
not
South
too
Philly.
far down
I
the
gotta
road.
go. I gotta go home.
Oh.
I would not want to be in South Philly tonight around 11 o'clock. Win or lose, I would not want to be there.
You'll be on your couch.
I'll be on my couch.
Well, you heard it here from him, the Hall of Famer himself, Gino Oriema. Thank you so
With
much.
a Hall of
for
Fame
joining
crew
us.
here.
Yes.
Thanks, Gina.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
We
it.
will be back to wrap up Big East Media Day here in just a few moments.
When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics.
Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one.
Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh farm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country. It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
1, 2, 3.
From signing day
We'll put this right here.
to game day,
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
Well, we're back with our final chair swap of the day. Lisa, welcome to the set.
This is nice, guys. You guys got to sit down all day?
We did.
I wasn't aware of this.
Well, you got to do the cool picture thing that they've now broken down, so
did.
we're not getting an
We missed
opportunity
out
to
on
do
that
that.
Oh, well, I could just move around you, Kim, with a phone camera. I got you.
Ladies, we were able to talk to all of the head coaches in the league today. Lisa, you talked to plenty of players as well. Excitement in the league, a lot of building from a season ago. Simply put, Kim, I'll start with you. What are you most excited for this season, whether it's a player, whether it's a team?
I'm going to give you two,
Okay.
a two-pronged answer here. One, going right off of what we just heard from, not Lisa, but Gino Oriema in that chair. You can't help but get very high expectations for that group. When you look on paper, when you look at who's returning, who's coming back from injury. I think Aaliyah Edwards is a huge piece of what they're going to do, and he spoke very highly of her. I don't think national championship is out of the question with that group. They were stopped short in the Sweet 16 last year. That's not something UConn is used to. And credit to them for all they were able to do with just the plethora of injuries they face month to month all season long. So it's incredible to just see a rejuvenated Gino and to think what that team can be. I think they have the talent to go all the way. Second, I just love the coaches in this league. We have 3 new ones this season. Again, our hearts are with Tasha Butts. Just so sad, but 3 new coaches, so many great returning coaches. Loved our conversations with all of them. I think the bottom part of the league is elevating with these new coaches. Austin Parkinson in year 2. So I love talking to the coaches. They're so positive, so motivated, and I'm excited to see them all come together to continue to elevate this phenomenal conference as we get some drills going.
Yeah.
Scott Heck can put a shut that
He's
down.
helping us out. Ice, how about a team that you think could surprise some people this year?
You're not going to be surprised. You're going to see it coming, but they're going to make you pay is the Marquette Golden Eagles. I have no doubt that Coach Duffy and her squad will put out the toughest team that we're going to see in conference. They may not be the best team. They may not be the tallest team, but I think they're going to be the toughest team that every single time you play Marquette, you're going to wish you had turned back around and went home.
That's music to my ears. I love that.
Megan Duffy's gonna play that on repeat in the locker room. That was quite the speech.
Put me on the wall, Coach. Thanks.
The Marquette alum, obviously.
Yes, that's
full
why
circle
I love
moment.
that one.
Lisa, what excites you about the conference?
I honestly think the new faces that we're going to see. There's been a lot of new players that have come in via the transfer portal, via injury, just coming back from that, and freshmen that are coming into this squad. I look at Butler and what Austin Parkinson has been able to do there, and now he's in his 2nd year. The growth from year 1 to year 2 for him was astronomical, and then he brings in a player like Rachel Kent, who is going to add a lot of depth to that Butler squad. So the new faces that are going to get used to the conference, and the conference is going to get used to seeing them out there, is very exciting.
And
I got one more.
Yeah, okay.
The in the bonus.
I was just going to say,
excited about it.
I had a great transition. It was, who you guys are going to be excited to see week in and week out?
Oh,
Us.
look at us.
Did we have
Oh
a
my
blast
God, I'm wearing
today
the
or
same
what,
top. That's
ladies?
embarrassing.
That's
I
okay.
own more than just this one top.
It's a great top. It's a great top.
Timeless.
I mean, if the podcast is anything like today, it'll be fun, entertaining, good conversations, and a lot of good stuff out there.
Watch out.
Multiple outfits as well.
Multiple outfits.
I had a different necklace.
We're going to talk not only hoops, we'll talk some style, and we'll get Kim a new outfit as well. That'll do it from us for Big East Media Day. Thank you so much for joining us. From Lisa Carlin, Ice Young, Kim Adams, myself, Megan Caffrey. We will see you once it's officially hoop season.